the level surface drops down from the horizontal plane at a rate of 8 inches times the distance in miles squared.
I'm not kidding.
Are we gonna keep on dividing?
3 coplanar points.
Are we gonna keep on fighting? Are we gonna keep on dividing? Well,
and bam, there's the radius of the Earth.
Are we gonna keep on fighting? Are we gonna keep on dividing? Well,
level.
You've still got the possibility of straight bendy lines, haven't you? Bending in one of the axes.
Have a line that's bent on one axis and straight on the other one. You agree, right?
It wouldn't be a straight line.
No, it wouldn't.
Yeah. On that we can agree that for a straight line to be a straight line, it needs to be straight in every axis. It cannot curve in any.
Well, he'll say yes right now, but he'll flip later.
You might refer to it as a straight line if you were on the surface of a curve.
See? You might refer to it.
That was a nice flip-flop.
Yeah, he's been doing it all day. I've been.
Yeah, it's getting a bit boring, Don.
I don't stick to your definition that it has to be straight on every axis.
Yeah, but like we understand that you're going to argue and not agree with anything that we say, because even if it's like obviously basic facts and provable, right? You won't agree to it anyway. We're getting the understanding of that, Don. It's getting a bit old.
It's a line that appears straight on one axis, right? That's what I'm going to stick with. There's too much nuance in the semantics.
Your definitions are too defined.
Fencing.
The definitions are too strict. We have to break them.
On the example of being on the mountaintops, when you look at each other, it's straight on that axis. Yeah, but you don't say this is a straight line. I think you do.
Straight. Your example, it's straight in every sense on that.
It's not totally straight though. If the surface.
Yeah, it is totally straight. It doesn't matter. The line of sight does not care what the surface is doing underneath
it. I'm thinking too much.
No, I don't think you're thinking at all.
Yeah. It takes time for this stuff to process, Don. You don't get it straight away, and it's okay. You'd probably be better just giving it a little bit of a break for a bit.
When you sight line on 3 mountains, it is straight, yeah.
Yeah.
Totally straight lines.
Yeah, and you can only have 180 degrees in a triangle with.
No, I think it might measure more. Still.
Oh,
okay, draw it on a piece of paper, then.
Dude.
Come out.
Do you not think it's provable that a triangle with 3 straight sides has 180 degrees? Because that is the fundamental basics about nearly all of the geometry within Euclidean geometry is the right angle. It didn't even have 90 degrees. It's called the right angle. And it's a very specific thing. Because it's right. And you need straight lines. And like all of these things, like on the level means being honest. Being straight with someone means being honest. Right. Being right and true. Like angles. And is that true? It's all the same thing. Right, true, honesty. Like literally the truth. It's what geometry is. You can't deny it. It's not there because somebody decided to make something up because they wanted to make some pretty patterns. It is when you come down to fundamental logic and you interpret it down to the basic truths that cannot be denied. There's nothing. Like it provable facts every time. There's no argument in this stuff. It is provable, then that's what you get left with is geometry. Euclidean geometry, to be precise.
What are you demonstrating? I don't get it.
Really? You don't get that? That's a 90-degree angle.
Angle
right
to
there.
a curve on a sphere. It's this line here. These are 90 degrees, and they just add the element of a sphere. Because, I mean, that's what it is. And then, hey presto, non-Euclidean angles. Just measure it. Where do you want to measure it at? Well, we're at the point of intersection.
Bingo, bango.
Which point of intersection? Oh, dear. That's terrible, Don. Thanks for coming, though. Really, Don? Thanks for coming. Look at that. I need to find a better ball now, don't
My
I?
argument all along was the
Yeah, that's awesome.
surface exists and it affects shapes.
Yeah, and all of these angles
Right.
here, they're always the same.
And I
aren't they?
win. That's true.
The intersection of 2 points on a sphere can be measured at any point.
1 point for us. Don. 1 point. We're winning.
One, you must have been sleeping. You're probably at 100 point.
Yeah, I'm really good with that. I mean, that is the expression of a non-Euclidean space and geometry actually in Euclidean space on a Euclidean spherical object.
That's wicked.
That's fucking amazing.
You're crazy.
All those angles are 90 degrees, Don.
Yeah, all of them.
Every single one, yeah.
Yeah.
That's 90, that's 90, that's 90.
It's just
Hang
depends where
on.
they're intersecting.
Hang on,
That's
did
90.
Dawn just call you crazy?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Actual
Dawn.
practical live. Oh, we're not actually live. Oh, that's a pity. You could have been involved in something big there, Dawn. We were doing live geometry. Have you ever seen that as a practical demonstration of non-Euclidean geometry on a surface of a sphere and angles? And what happens and how freaky it is? Did you know that? Did you know it was that freaky, the geometry you were talking about?
Okay, 1D.
Yeah, length without thickness. So
Oh,
can
yeah.
you tell me what
1D.
that's like?
If it's one-dimensional, why are you worrying about the other dimensions?
What other dimensions?
The ones where it might be curved.
It can't be curved because it is a straight line. Straight lines
Yep,
can't
so-
be curved. That's the point.
Straight lines can be curved if they're on a curved surface.
Then they're not
Then
straight
they're
lines, Don.
Curved.
They're straight on one
lines.
axis.
No.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
not the definition of a straight line, dude.
Can be.
Well, only if you want to make up your own definition.
You know, when you draw a straight line on a bit of paper and then you bend the paper, would you say it's no longer a straight line?
Absolutely.
Even though it's still straight in one
No,
axis?
it curves because you've just said you bent the paper. As soon as you
fair enough.
add a bend curvature to it, it's no longer straight.
Let me look up the definition of a straight line and I'll see if I agree with you guys.
Okay. The shortest point between the shortest distance between its 2 points. The straight line lies evenly between its 2 points. Its 2 extreme points. It's always weird that when we get down to straight lines, right? Like,
Yeah, it's
You-
funny that that's what the main argument's about, whether or not a
For
line
the,
is straight.
for the sake of language, I'll agree with you guys. A straight line has to be straight on all axes.
yeah.
So that now what I'll argue now is a curved line can be straight on one axis.
Well, then it's a curved line. That's
Yeah, it's still a curved line, right?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
if you look at it down the line,
Yeah,
it can
yeah.
look straight. It can
Yeah,
appear
okay,
straight.
I'll give you that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It can look straight, but it will never ever be straight
yeah,
because
it's not
there's a
straight by
curvature to it.
definition.
Okay. On a 2D plane, it would be straight.
On a 2D
It's-
plane, it would be on the 2D plane.
Yeah, it's like coming across. Think about it this way, Don.
I'm just trying to argue.
Cross-dresser.
What I'm trying to argue
No,
is
yeah, but
non-Euclidean
think about it this
geometry
way.
is a thing on
You
curves.
You
on
come
curves.
across the cross-dresser. She looks like a girl. You're drinking. You're at a party. You take the cross-dresser home. You find out, oopsie, it's not a girl. It's really a guy. That's all we're talking about here. You want to say a line looks straight, but when you look into
I
it,
think
the
Scott
line's
Veach
actually
made this
not
example the other day, but said about a 14-year-old. She
Well,
might
I
look
don't
18, but she could be a 14-year-old.
Yeah, no, I'm not going down that road. But anyhow,
I agree, yeah.
I'm just saying the line's not straight, dude. So you can't say it looks straight, therefore it is straight. No,
I think
it's
what I'm arguing for is you can have a 2D surface that's not a plane.
What?
A curved 2D surface. This
A
is what
curved 2D?
in theory, yeah.
No.
not even in theory.
No
Why not?
way. Length times breadth. 2 dimensions. There's only
Okay,
2 dimensions.
Because you guys keep trying to redefine terms in order to fit your.
Let me
what you
try and
believe
argue
it is.
in another way.
Okay.
Non-Euclidean geometry is a thing if you want to do geometry on a curved surface.
No, you can do
Yeah.
geometry on a curved surface.
Well, no, because
Euclidean.
horizontals
Wait, hold on.
go
Are
out
you
into
saying
space, don't
Euclidean geometry doesn't have curved surfaces? Like, what are you? What are you guys
Non-Euclidean
saying all the
geometry
time?
is a thing if you want to do geometry on a curved surface.
You sure?
Yeah.
No, I think they always had spherical trigonometry, didn't they? From ages and ages and ages ago, way before they invented non-Euclidean geometry. So there is a formula, a basic understanding of spherical trigonometry within Euclidean.
So I'm arguing
geometry.
for non-Euclidean geometry as a thing in reality.
Oh.
Has a use. It has a use if you want to measure geometry on a curved surface.
Oh, you see, you're not talking non-Euclidean geometry. You're talking about spherical geometry, a very specific type of non-Euclidean. That would be not Euclidean geometry. But it comes with its problems, right? If you want to delve you into that, Dawn. I mean, I don't think you do, really, do you? You like everybody else
No.
that says non-Euclidean and thinks that's going to be enough to baffle people.
No, I'm not trying to baffle you. I'm trying to get you guys. We can all agree it's a type of geometry. It's a thing. So even if Earth's not a sphere, people still like to
Euclidean
theoretically
geometry
or
is a
actually
thing.
measure curved surfaces. Some people like to do it. They're into that.
Yeah, Euclidean geometry is definitely a thing.
No, non-Euclidean geometry.
Yeah, that's just got non in the front of it.
Yeah, it's all geometries that are not Euclidean.
And which mean what? Because geometry is defined
Anything, any
within
type of
geometry.
geometry.
Euclid defined the term geometry
Yes.
into an axiomatic system. So
Yeah,
when
but
you
now
say
they've got a new
not
They've
that,
got a new types of geometry
Yeah.
now.
and how
So
do
they
they
made up
do
another
that?
word.
How do
They
they
call it
do that?
non-Euclidean.
Yeah, and how do
By
they do
imagining
that?
curved surfaces, doing maths on curved
They
surfaces.
have but Euclidean geometry has definitions at the beginning that define all the terms used. Now, you're talking about angles on spherical surfaces. Do you have a definition of an angle to a curve and how that is redefined within your new geometry?
I'm not an expert, but if you wanted to, you'd have to, wouldn't you? You'd have to imagine what an angle is like on a curve.
Well, you can't do that. That isn't a definition within
Doesn't matter.
Euclidean geometry.
If it's
an
real,
angle.
doesn't matter. If
An
it's like
angle is
dictionary, if
defined
it's a real
very
thing,
well
real
within
thing.
Euclidean geometry. Now,
So,
if you're
what are you gonna
taking
do? Tell
that
them I'm
into your
using the wrong word?
non-Euclidean geometry,
They're just using words to describe new types of
yes,
measurement.
but like we've just decided, there are no straight lines on the surface of a sphere.
Yes, all you're arguing is
Yeah,
it's
but-
not an angle.
Well,
It's on a
what is
3D.
it then? And how do you measure it? How
still
is
call
it defined? How
They
do you
still
measure
call
it?
They still call it an angle.
Yeah, that's because they use straight lines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Straight lines on curved surfaces.
No, there's no straight lines on the
They
curved
still
surfaces.
call it straight lines, though.
No, they use
do.
the straight lines from inside. They use projections from the Euclidean sphere that it is underneath the surface, the two-dimensional surface, I might add, of the sphere.
Listen, I agree with you that non-Euclidean geometry is mostly useless for a layman.
Spherical geometry
But all I'm
isn't
saying
a
is
true geometry, is
thing.
it?
Well,
Dawn,
They still call it one.
who does?
The people that
The
do
people that you listen to.
it. Mathematicians.
Oh, which mathematicians?
What would you rather they call it?
Which mathematicians?
Okay,
Don.
You know what? We're both talking about
Don,
the same thing.
Which
You don't like
mathematicians
all
use
mathematicians.
spherical geometry? None of them do.
Mathematicians call it non-Euclidean geometry. They
Yes,
all know
that
what
is
it means.
because it's not Euclidean geometry.
Yes, but that's
Yeah.
what they call it.
Yeah,
What would
but
you
they're
rather they call
not
it?
using spherical geometry.
What do you think they should call it?
Well,
If it's
I think they should
if it
they should
can't be
stop
called
calling it
geometry.
non-Euclidean when there are millions of things that aren't Euclidean. Like my TV, right, isn't Euclidean geometry. Can I
What
call
should they
that
call it?
non-Euclidean
What should they call it?
geometry?
what should they call it when they try and measure
They
curved
should
surfaces?
describe what they're talking about before just calling it
Let's
not
think of
something
a
else.
better term now.
Yeah.
Instead of non-Euclidean geometry and angles and straight lines, let's try and replace all these terms so that
Yeah,
the
yeah.
mathematicians
We
can
already
carry on
have
doing their
like
work.
the Flat Earth and all of his crew are doing that as we speak.
What are they calling it instead?
Kangle, a kangle. That's an angle with a curve, an angle to a curve.
Okay.
That's a kangle. What else did we have? We had oh, you invented the up down.
Well, that's nothing to do with it.
Yeah, of course it is. That's part of. That's definitely you're helping them redefine their flat Earth
Me trying to
geometry.
describe walking around a hump, over a hump,
It's not a
behind
hump.
a hump,
Not a hump.
through a hump,
It's
through a
not a
hump.
hump. You fell into it again. Walking around the up down. Come on.
There is a hump between 2 points on a sphere, dude.
What's a hump?
You can test this now with your basketball.
Do you want to define a hump
Yeah,
as something that doesn't either go up or down?
an up
but-
curve between 2 points.
Or up? You can't use up.
Yeah, you can. It's not down, is it? The curve down. That wouldn't be a hump. That would be a dip.
You're talking about
Well, if
level.
you're traveling from point A to point B, when you're talking about these two humps, it is up and then down. It's not just up,
Yes,
right?
that's why I said it originally. Thank
So
you.
the up down, yeah, the up down.
Yeah, but constantly
The
walking up
I'm now
down,
gonna
because
call
if you've
it-
got
I'm now
two
gonna
people
call it
walking
around the
together,
hump.
one of them's walking up and the other one's walking up and up
Both
down.
walking up and then
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Up,
So
down, yeah.
at one time there is only
Literally how you
one
walk over a hump,
direction.
up and then down.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not weird. It's not strange.
Well, maybe not to you.
We can call it walking over the hump. or we
I'd
can
I'd
up,
call it
down.
walking along a horizontal level.
Yeah, but you're pre-assuming.
Except
What?
you never walk over a hump, do you? From your
I
perspective.
believe we do. Yeah.
No, you don't.
He said he believes we do.
Yeah, I guess you can.
He's got
believe
no
what you
no
want.
evidence of it. He just does believe it.
I
Though.
walk from Norwich to London. I walk over a hump. I drive over the hump.
Yeah.
Up and then down.
I don't
Really?
think, you know, when I walk down the side of the canal, that's not what I think at all.
How does the hump work in the 8 inches per mile squared?
Well, that's the map for it. For the drop.
Well,
Hey,
you
pause
have to
for a
walk
second.
up over a hump, right?
Scalpel, hang on just a second. Paul, look at the live stream. Finally used my new toy. Florida, spot on.
I'm not going to allow you to destroy the word geometry. I'm happy still calling it geometry on a sphere. So spherical geometry or
That's good.
geometry
Keep it
that's
at that.
non-Euclidean. I'm happy with the term they chose for it.
Yeah, it's just
You were
like
the one talking about definitions the other day, and you said they mean things, and now
I know,
you don't
but
want to.
Sorry, I've just spent 5 minutes trying to think of a better way to describe this.
Yeah.
And we still need to say the word geometry so people know the type of measuring we're doing on a curved surface. So
the type
I'm-
of measuring you
you
do.
have to use that word, even though it's a slightly different type of geometry. We
So
have
it's
to
like
let people know what it means.
fiction and non-fiction, truth and non-truth.
It's geometry that isn't Euclidean. That's exactly. It's a
No,
great
you said it's non-geometry.
description. It's any other type of geometry that's not Euclidean.
But you don't understand what Euclidean geometry is, so
Oh yeah.
you do. Like triangles and squares and circles and dodecahedrons and octagons and pentagrams, all of that shit, all of it. That's Euclidean geometry. Straight lines, angles,
Yep.
right angles.
2D, right?
Yep. So not that.
When we measure, yeah, not that.
Yeah.
Other types. Any other type of geometry.
Anything that doesn't involve a sphere, a triangle, a square, or a straight line, a curved line, or anything like in reality that we can measure.
Like
Yeah,
curved
anything other than any of that shit.
curved surfaces, like a ski slope. If you're measuring a ski slope to build a new ramp,
Yep.
curve,
Yep.
that sort of
In reality,
3D curve.
yeah. Yeah, in reality, that's definitely Euclidean. All of that.
This is when
If
you
it's,
use
if it's
non-Euclidean.
measurable, it's definitely Euclidean. With a ruler, straight line ruler type measurement, that's Euclidean.
The thing I'm talking about can't be measured with a straight line ruler because it's a curved ski slope.
What, you can't tell the difference in between the curve?
No, the ruler just sticks off the end of the curve. So you need to do non-Euclidean math to work out the right height for the jump.
So.
Yes.
No, because that is
That's what it's for.
it's a
That's why it's a
developable
thing.
surface, isn't it?
That's why when you put it into Google, it comes up with 1 million pages telling you about how it works because it's a thing.
You've never read any of them, have you?
I'm
You've
reading
just gone,
it now.
oh, there's a
I've
lot
got 'em on
there.
screen now. I'm simply just trying to get you guys to not deny things that are things.
Yeah, well, spherical geometry has... Well, you have to get rid of a load of the axioms of Euclidean geometry. Call them common notions and forget they're even there. And then say there's 5 postulates. Now, do you know how many of those 5 basic postulates stand true in non-Euclidean spherical geometry?
None.
No, it's not, strangely enough. There's 2.
Okay.
One of them is to describe a circle of any length from the center point to the distance away from it, right? Do you think that one would stand?
Let me think about that. Yeah, circles are still circles on a curved surface, are they? No. Radius has got to change on a circle, hasn't it? Curved.
Yeah, that is how you describe a circle, from the center point and the distance from that center.
Oh, I'm saying if we bent that on a curved surface, it would change.
No. It's a
wouldn't be
circle's
a
a
circle
circle.
anymore, would it?
Circle's a circle, so you can't change what a circle is. You can just change the axioms, right? You can only have the axioms. So I was just asking you, do you think that axiom stands?
Wait, I'm sure you can distort a circle on 3D space.
A circle can be described from a center to any at any distance from that center. That's how you describe a circle.
I'm going to say circles still exist in non-Euclidean.
Yeah. Of course they do.
They might be distorted though, innit? If it's a weird.
It would have to be a circle. Well, that's the point, right? A circle still has to be a circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can't not be a circle. Because a circle can be described from the centre at any distance from that centre, because that's the line that describes that particular circle, right? Now, do you think that stands within spherical geometry or not? Because what you have to do here, you have to use actual logic. This is what geometry is. You have to think about it. Use your noggin.
I'm reading Cora here. Yeah, you're right. On the one hand, no difference. The definition of a circle is still the same, but seeing one is quite different.
Question was, do you think that... There's only 5 postulates, isn't there? So do you think that one still actually stands on
Yes, it
spherical
says here.
geometry?
Yeah. Definition stands of the circle.
Does it? What about a circle that's bigger than the sphere? Could you draw that within your spherical geometry of your new geometry?
Circle bigger than the sphere.
Itself, yeah.
Non-Euclidean isn't always about a sphere.
No, geometry is about logic. You
About
have to
elliptic or
follow
hyperbolic.
the
These are the two
postulates
types.
and axioms of the geometry to live within the very geometry that you're trying to talk about.
You're not having a normal conversation because you just went off onto something.
No, this is spherical geometry. The
I'm not
postulate,
talking about
that a circle can be
Talking about
described.
Euclidean.
Yeah, Euclidean geometry has a postulate. Only has 5 according to you guys.
Okay.
You've got rid of a load of the other ones.
Yeah, the circle one still stands.
It can't.
Well, this guy
Because
says it
you
does.
cannot describe a circle bigger than the sphere within that spherical geometry.
Non-Euclidean isn't about a sphere. It's
What?
about any curved surface.
Spherical geometry isn't about the surface of a sphere.
Non-Euclidean geometry.
Well, you're swapping
it's
again, Dawn.
always-
This is why I tried to get
Hey,
you to explain.
No, you're trying to gaslight me into saying something wrong and just misinterpreting what I say.
Are you talking about
Being a bit
spherical
dishonest.
geometry, or are you not talking about
I'm not.
spherical geometry?
I'm not.
You're not, okay. So
No,
when I go,
that's what I
look,
keep saying.
there's a
I'm talking
car,
about one
right?
Euclidean.
Here's a car. This is what cars are like. They have 4 wheels, all right,
What are you
right?
talking
Okay.
about now? You're not
Well,
letting
I'm
us
just going to talk about not cars, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, a not
Aeroplanes.
car. Yeah, so
Aeroplanes and boats,
you know
right.
about not cars, don't you?
Airplanes, boats, and bananas.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, not cars.
Yeah.
Right, so let's talk about not cars then, and how they live and the
Let's
work.
talk about not car
Yeah.
transport,
Yeah.
shall we? Like
Yeah, yeah.
train.
No, not that. Not
Example.
that. Not that. Not car. No.
Non-car transport.
Yeah. Let's. Yeah. We're dealing in the not world now, right?
So do you
So
understand
not
all
that. No,
all this
not
time,
that.
all this time I was talking about non-Euclidean, not
Yes.
spherical.
Oh, so you weren't talking about spherical geometry when you were talking about. Okay. Were you talking about hyperbolic geometry then?
Yeah, hyperbolic and
Oh.
elliptic.
Okay. So where are you going to use hyperbolic geometry?
In theories about space fabric.
Okay, right. So we're not talking about, again, we're not talking about level or anything like that.
Nothing like that.
No, okay. Brilliant. So, Fantasy World, Penrose.
Yeah, it's if for people that are into trying to do
Theory.
geometry
No,
on
people-
the theory of space
No,
fabric.
people like that imagine shit.
Or measuring an Earth they think is a sphere shape.
No. See, you've gone wrong there. They
Or
don't do that with
building
hyperbolic geometry. Stop
building
talking
really
about
good
that.
Angled ski ramps. It's also for that.
No, that's Euclidean geometry.
It's also good for computer games, for world mapping. Works great for it.
Within a framework of a non-real place.
So if you want to try and theorize
okay, yeah,
about
yeah.
the
I'll give
infinite
you that.
universe
The
we live in,
non-Euclidean geometry you can use
non-Euclidean
in a
comes in really handy. It helps
non-reality
you
place.
theorize.
Perfectly fine there. I'm with that.
Even in Arwen's model of Earth, you know, the 3D looping,
No.
comes in handy there. Non-Euclidean math.
Did you just say Arwen?
Yeah, he cited Arwen.
I did, yeah.
Well, I can't compete with that.
If you wanted to do the math on Arwen's 3D looping model of Earth, you would use non-Euclidean to see how it loops.
You've if you learnt that over at Gems. I'd
No,
love to have been over there in that thing. I've never, honestly, Arwen's got a model.
Yeah, that's
Never even heard that.
speaks for itself.
And Dawn's bringing
playing
it
a
up.
computer game. I'm playing a computer game that uses non-Euclidean math.
Yeah, because it's not. You're not in a real place. It's not
Yeah,
real
no,
there where you are, Dawn.
But the math's real, so they managed to use it to make a game look
The
cool.
maths is real.
Yes.
The real numbers.
It has an effect. The math.
The
works.
numbers are real.
Wait a second, Don. Is English real? Does English work?
Of course.
That must mean Narnia's real then, because we used English to describe Narnia.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Well, that's exactly what you're saying right now.
No, when I said the number,
You're saying no. You're saying you're
you just
playing.
pretended I meant
Hold on.
the
you're saying
actual
you're
symbol,
playing-
the number.
Hold on. You're saying you're playing a video game with maths. Therefore, the maths must work in
What
reality.
I'm saying is, they used this math to design the levels, and it worked. and the level design worked. So
Yeah, so
it proves it's a real type of math.
no. Well, English is a real type of English because Narnia.
No, that's completely different to what I said.
Real numbers, man. Real numbers.
It's exactly what you're saying, dude.
Shout out for the real numbers.
Somebody
Are
described
you
the
trying to
make
show
believe.
that numbers
Hold
ain't
on.
real? So
Someone
when you
described.
give me the results of
You're
your
saying
experiments, I'll
someone.
just say, no, it's not
Don,
real, it's
Don.
only a number.
Don. You're saying someone described a world on the computer in which you can move around in with math.
No, they didn't
That's what you
describe
said.
it. They didn't describe it. They
That's
applied
what
the
it
math
does.
and
Yeah, that's
designed
what
the
it's
level
doing.
using the math. It maps
Mhm.
on a
Just
non-Euclidean
like
space.
Narnia, they used words and then they got costumes and they got video cameras and they made
That's
Narnia.
not what I'm saying.
It's exactly the same thing,
It was a
dude.
good analogy, I'd agree, but I don't, because it's not.
Well, I think it is. It's all make believe.
You know what I'm saying.
Yeah, you're saying it's make
And
believe. You're
agree
saying
with me that non-Euclidean
you
math
made
is a type of math.
you're saying you made a make believe world, therefore it must be real.
Just agree. It's a type of math that people use. Type of geometry.
To make a make believe world?
To measure curved surfaces.
I won't agree with that.
Then you're dishonest with yourself.
Why? I think you can use regular
It's true, you know.
Euclidean geometry.
If it wasn't a real thing, it wouldn't have a million Google searches with different people explaining it, would it?
Maybe that's why it needs so much. Oh, if you're going to go by that logic, then I guess Narnia is real too, because it's got a million Google searches as well.
People don't explain it. They all say it's fiction. You can read the Google.
Listen, if Google searches prove what's
They all
real
admit
and
it's
what's
a
not,
fictional book by C.S. Lewis.
if Google searches prove what's real or what's not, then I guess flat Earth is real too.
That's not what I said, though. I didn't say Google search proves it's real. I
Well,
said
that was your
all the
argument.
people explaining how they use it and what it's for.
Yeah, there's lots of people explaining the flat Earth, dude. Lots of people explaining aliens. There's lots of people explaining
They don't explain it.
fucking Yetis and stuff like that, too.
It's not the same.
No, of course it's not, because it doesn't make your point.
You're comparing a type of geometry with Yetis. That's how far out you're being.
No, I'm going by your logic about... No, that's
Yeah,
not what I'm doing.
You're trying to joke around my logic, and that's ended you up comparing
You're
a type of
twisting.
geometry with
You're
Yetis.
twisting.
Dawn,
You're twisting my point.
you
I'm not
saying...
saying-
Wait a minute.
You
Dawn
said-
says that a type of geometry is something that isn't an other type of geometry. Right, Dawn? The type of geometry you're talking about is the geometry that is defined as not being an other geometry, right?
No, it's just the same word they use.
No, they use non-Euclidean. Right, so is that the type of geometry you're talking about? The geometry that isn't the Euclidean geometry?
Yeah, any
Yeah,
type
that's
of
a brilliant
geometry.
way of defining
Not
stuff, that,
Euclidean.
Don. Don't be too specific, right, or
It's just
anything.
simple.
Just
it's a
something
simple
that isn't something
definition.
else.
It's anything that's not Euclidean. Any other type of geometry. 3D, 4D, 5D.
Yeah, and that any of that geometry doesn't have to represent reality in any way at all, does it? So that could be, basically, you could be describing any sort of non-reality that
Yes,
you
you
want
don't
to
have-
describe,
have
and
to
then
break
say,
reality.
no, that's not the geometry we were talking about. I was talking about an other, not that type of geometry.
Got
Which
rid
is
of
that's why I
a
said it's the
typical
difference
baller
between
experiment.
fiction and non-fiction.
using
Yeah.
terrible semantics.
No, that's what you're doing. You're using the semantics.
All I'm doing is saying non-Euclidean.
Yeah,
is a
you're
type
saying
of
not
geometry.
that.
That's all I'm saying.
Not that.
It's just a term for a type of geometry. non-corrosive metals, something like this. Any metal that's not corrosive. What it means.
Yeah. Unable to define it, right? And whenever you point at something, you could always go, nah, not that.
Find it by saying it's not that one that you've heard of before, it's any other one.
Yeah, yeah. And then when you point at that one, you'll go, no, no, not that one.
Yeah, to say
That's what
non-corrosive
I
metal
do, yeah.
doesn't mean anything either. It could mean lots of things.
Oh, you mean geometry where triangles, angles add up to
Hey,
180?
Hey,
no,
guess,
no, not that
guess
one.
what?
Another type of geometry where they don't. That's exactly right, Bev, yes.
Yeah. Can you define it better than that?
And what?
Your geometry that isn't the
Yes,
best known
geometry.
axiomatic system that's defined and then chock full of proofs of what it says. That geometry, the one that you say, not that one.
Yeah, not that one.
Is it so your geometry that isn't the one that's the best known geometry and the basis of all mathematics and
Not
everything
standard
that you
geometry.
know about, right?
standard
That
geometry,
one,
no.
right? Not that one. Have you got anything that can compete with it for definitions? Yeah,
No, it's
go on
not
then. Show us the
competing.
definitions of all the
competing.
things.
They live together as both types of geometries. They're not competing.
Okay, so an angle then always stays as the division between two straight lines. The inclination of one straight line to
This is a
another.
different
You can't
type
get
of
around
geometry.
it. You can't get around the definition of
Different
parallel,
type of
around the
geometry.
definition of a straight line, or a
different type of geometry.
triangle, or a
doesn't
square, or a circle. They're all
Or you
defined
just
within
preach
Euclidean geometry.
Like you're saying, no, 3D doesn't exist.
No, I'm
I'm
saying a
thinking with 2D.
triangle is defined as having 3 straight sides.
Yeah, that's the same in non-Euclidean.
And a straight line is also defined as having
No, not
no
straight.
curvature, right? So I don't have to go beyond that. When I'm talking about Euclidean geometry and I hear straight line or triangle, I know what it means. I don't have to redefine anything. Some people do.
We're not redefining, we're adding
Yes,
it
you are.
into the definition.
Adding to what? Definition of a triangle.
Yes.
Go on then.
Other types of a triangle.
Add to the definition of a triangle, please.
Yes. A spherical triangle, we call it.
That's not much of a definition.
That's the name for it.
Please define.
Like the definition, it's another anti-definition. So it's any triangle that doesn't add up to 180 degrees. A non-180 triangle.
Can you draw us one of these triangles that doesn't add up to 180 degrees?
On a
please?
ball, I can, yeah.
How? How would you measure those angles?
I'm not quite sure. I can't remember how you measure in non-Euclidean.
You don't. But
Can you do it on a? Can you do it on a piece of paper, Don?
I think you need to use quite a lot of formula.
to
So
measure,
you're not.
you use a formula to measure. I don't think
No,
you
it's-
understand what measure is, Don.
Yeah, to measure angles on a curved surface.
No. A measurement is something that you have to do actually physically. It's a measurement. It's not a calculation. That's different, right? A calculation is what you do on a piece of paper with something. A measurement is something that you physically do.
Don't tell me I've got to Google this for you.
Uh,
How do you measure an angle in non-Euclidean space?
Go on
Surely
then.
there's a way.
Where do you get to non-Euclidean space, Dawn?
Just on the edge of a ball.
Nah, that's the surface of a sphere. That's Euclidean.
On Euclidean surface, then, whatever. I get your argument. It doesn't have much application in reality, and I agree.
Have you found that definition yet? I've got to go and have some food.
What for? What did you want?
You were looking for how to measure the angle in Euclidean space, weren't you?
No, on a non-Euclidean surface, how do you measure an angle? I'm just going to search, how do you measure an angle on a sphere?
That's Euclidean, though, dude. And it'll tell you need to cut into the surface or extend the radial lines out, so you can actually use the straight lines to measure the angle.
Wait, so you're trolling. You know the answer already.
Yeah, you need two
You
straight
bastard.
lines to measure an angle. You can't measure an angle to a curve.
Don't play me for a fool, Bev. If you already know the answers, this is not a quiz.
He's already said the answer way earlier. So did I. You can't measure angles with curved lines. You need straight lines.
He knows that there is an answer from other people that say you can.
No.
Yeah,
There isn't.
you use straight lines. You don't make angles with curved lines. See, the problem is you were too busy arguing that a straight line is curved. That's the problem. Is you're always arguing when he says straight lines, you think curved lines.
No. What I'm thinking
Yeah.
is,
Yeah, you do.
listen, when we think about 3D spaces, 3D surfaces and curved surfaces, I guess what I'm saying, yeah, surfaces have to, when I'm saying 3D and curved, I'm saying the same thing. So anything that's not a plane, when it starts to curve, right?
Well, you know, things
curved
can be
surface.
3D without having the curve too, right? You do realize that, right?
Yeah, but I'm talking about a surface being.
Yeah, you might want to go into Gaussian curvature, but I've got to go and have some food for a minute. But yeah, curved surfaces are developable and non-developable. Keep that in mind, Dawn, all right?
Let's imagine,
See you in a bit.
yeah, that we're building a nice garden, but we want it to be all arty and curved. So we're going to have a curved surface to our lawn. We could just do it with our eyes. Or if we want it to be really, really, really specific, we could use a type of geometry, but we can't use straight lines anymore. Because it's
That's
a curved
not-
surface.
No, that's not true. You use a straight line to make a curved surface.
But you get the point that we might need a different type of geometry to lay things out on the curved surface.
No, actually, that's not true.
Oh, God. It's
It's
like you're in
not.
denial of 3 dimensions.
No,
You're
I'm not
arguing
in
that
denial
even
of
though
3D.
even though curved 3D surfaces exist, we only ever use normal geometry. Is that what you're arguing?
Are you telling me that Euclidean geometry doesn't have spherical shapes or circles within it? Is that what you're saying?
You like Bev are conflating spherical geometry with non-Euclidean geometry on purpose.
No, I'm asking
Sounds
you.
like you're doing it on purpose.
No, it's a simple question. I don't know why you couldn't just say yes or no.
I
Does Euclidean geometry have curves and
said
spheres
no.
within it?
I said yeah, of course.
Okay, so why would you ask me the question saying basically that Euclidean geometry is it's not practical to use with curved surfaces?
It's not always, is it? That's why they made up another type.
But it is. Like you talk about making a garden, right? With like I don't know, it sounds like you were talking about making a walking path or something that had a curve on it and you want that curve to be perfect.
No, I'm
Right.
imagining a 3D curve, dude. That's why I said 3D curved surface, not just
Whoa.
a curved path.
Well, what do you mean by 3D curved surface?
Oh God! See, it's not
Well,
like
no.
You're not
No,
denying 3D. It's like you've never heard of it before. You just came
No.
out of flatland.
No, with
You know,
with
it's
accordance
actually
with
what you're
your
thinking about.
example. No, I'm trying to figure out with accordance to your example of being in the garden. What do you mean by a 3D?
24/7's made you completely forget 3D curved surfaces exist.
I haven't been on 24/7 for months, maybe even years. So, according to your example, though, with this garden, what are you talking about a 3D curved surface then? When you were talking, I was envisioning like a walkway that curved or whatever. So obviously,
How do
I misunderstood your example. So what are you trying to talk about? That's in the garden. That is this 3D
Imagine the
curved
inside of a
surface.
ball. Yeah.
Hold on. No, I want to, because you're kind of making fun of me. You're kind of making fun of me for thinking flat.
No,
So
I'm
I
really
want to go
high. I
back to
don't
your
know what
garden.
I'm saying.
I want to go back to your garden example. What were you talking about in the
Yeah,
garden
that's what I'm
that
saying.
you're building? That you're building that has a 3D curved surface in the garden. What are you building?
Imagine a concave hemisphere, like a bowl.
In your garden.
Yeah, say I wanted to put lawn on that.
You want to put lawn on what?
A concave hemisphere.
What does that even mean? A concave
I don't know
hemisphere.
what that means.
So you're talking about
It's a bowl,
part
like a
of
bowl.
a bowl. You want to make a bowl in your garden.
Bowl, yeah, bowl-shaped lawn.
A ball.
A bowl.
A bowl. So you want a bowl in your garden. So what's the problem?
I'm saying if I wanted to get really specific on the surface of this bowl in my garden with art and decorations and lawn, I could use non-Euclidean geometry. to do that.
Really? Could you use Euclidean geometry to do that, do you think?
Probably I could get away with it, yeah, because it's only a lawn.
Well, then what's the problem?
That's why I'm talking about the specific nature of, say, I was doing a really nice pattern of art and I didn't want it to be distorted. I can't just use straight lines then. I've got to use non-Euclidean math to sketch the art out.
Do you? Like,
yeah, that's my argument. Yeah.
If I could see, like, because you can make circles and all this other stuff. I mean, that's what you need to make this bowl. You just make a circle and start digging a hole, right?
No, I need curved triangles for this.
You need curved triangles.
Yeah, because the art pattern includes all these weird shapes that wrap around the bowl. To get them right, I've got to know non-Euclidean math. I've got to design different types of triangles.
This is good. So you want to use curved triangles to build a bowl shape in your garden. Can you explain to me the
bowl shapes? Yeah,
a bowl shape. Yeah, you're creating a hole in your garden with curved triangles.
We can use our eyes. We can use normal geometry to build the bowl shape. But when I'd want to do specific art on it, that's when I've got to use non-Euclidean geometry to get the art pattern right.
Sure. Okay. So what device or what tool would you use to measure your curved triangle angles?
A string and a pencil.
A string and a pencil. And how would you do that?
I'd measure the angle with normal protractors, but
a normal protractor does straight lines.
Normal geometry protractor.
So you're going to use straight lines to tell you the angle of a curved line?
Mostly straight, yeah. But all I'm arguing is
This is confusing. So you want to use
non-Euclidean geometry a bit for my design.
You want to use straight lines. You want to use straight lines to get angles, which straight lines do get angles. I would agree with you. To tell you about something about some kind of curved line angle, how's that work? I'm
using non-Euclidean geometry to map out my pattern. That's all.
So you're using non-geometry. No, actually, what you're doing is you're using Euclidean geometry.
No. These triangles have curves. So it's non-Euclidean.
Then they're not triangles, dude.
Well,
by definition.
Now we're just talking semantics. What would you?
Well, no. By definition.
Three-sided shapes.
You can call them what you want, but by definition, they're not triangles. And by definition, you're using straight lines to create angles, which I would have to agree with that. I don't know what that. I don't know what straight line angles have to do with your piece of string, really, to be honest. But I would agree that you can.
Let me try and get it from another angle. Are you willing to admit that some three-sided shapes have curved sides?
Some three-sided shapes have curved sides. I don't know. What are you
Especially,
talking about?
You know, the ones that are on curved surfaces. Let's imagine a three-sided shape on a curved surface. Are you happy to admit that the sides will be curved?
Well, is it a shape? I don't know. Like, by definition,
Three-sided shape, we call it a
is it
triangle
a
usually.
shape? Well, it's not, by definition, it's not a triangle.
It still
It's
looks
like-
a bit like one. It's still pretty much the same as a triangle. It's got most of the same features.
Pretty much the same is not the same. It's like saying a car and a truck are the same because they're pretty much the
It's
same.
the same, except it's a bit curved, which means the angles are different.
Which means you can't do the angles because
We
angles
could
come
call
from
it
straight lines.
three-sided shape, but that's three words. So we like
but
to still call it a triangle.
You just explained to me earlier that in order to get an angle of your string, you would use a protractor, which uses straight lines.
You're happy calling it a 3D three-sided shape?
Well, I don't know what shape you would call it.
No, but are you happy just calling it 3D sided shapes?
Well, I don't even know if it's a shape. It's just someone took lines and drew them on, like let's say we took a basketball, right, or whatever, and we took a Sharpie and maybe we drew 4 lines that all connected in the corners. Would
But
you
surely
want to?
You have to have a name for these curved shapes that are nearly the same, but just a bit curved. We have to. Should we just call them the same, but put the word spherical in front of them, and then people will probably get the idea?
But do you think definitions matter?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, so if something doesn't fit into a definition, can you still call it the same thing? Like,
Yeah, you just have to point out that it's a different type.
like
Nearly
a dog and
nearly
a
the
like
same.
a dog and a cat. A dog has whiskers. A cat has whiskers. A dog has
Mm.
floppy ears. A cat has ears. A dog has a tail. A cat has a tail. A dog has 4 legs. A cat has 4 legs. They both have fur. They both have eyes. They both have a nose. Blah blah blah. The list could go on and on and on. But one's a member of the canine family. The other's a member of the feline family. Are we going to call them essentially the same?
Yeah,
Even
they
though
share things in common. Like a dolphin is a mammal, even though it's in the sea, because it shares things in common with other mammals.
So a dog is the same thing as a cat, essentially, like basically.
You have such bad semantics.
Really? Well, because I could give you a lot more things in common with a dog and a cat than you can with triangles.
No, the triangle's nearly exactly the same, except a bit curved.
Well, dog and a cat's nearly exactly the
There's no
same,
other
except for
word
one's a
for
dog and
three-sided-
one goes
three-sided
meow and the
shape.
other one goes rough.
Let me look up the etymology of the word triangle. I bet it doesn't include has to have straight lines. I bet there's nothing about straight lines. It's just about three-sided shapes.
Do you know what it says? The etymology of a triangle?
No, I'm gonna look. Okay, so we've got Latin as the beginning of this. In the Oxford languages, Latin's the first etymology, and it just means three-cornered. So there you go. It does fit the original definition. It's
Having
you-
three.
it's you that's
Hold
changed the
on.
definition
Hold on. Hold
to
on.
be all specific about
Oh,
2D.
hold
over time.
on. Hold on. So it says having 3 angles.
Three-cornered. Latin, triangular.
Okay, but hold on. When you're are you purposely leaving it out or what? It says in quotation marks 3-cornered, comma. Okay, so quotation mark 3-cornered, comma, having 3 angles, quotation mark. So you left out half the quotation. Did you do that on purpose?
It says triangle. I'm not looking up angle. It just means corner.
Listen.
Angle
It
just means
sa-
corner. So it's the same thing.
No. You're leaving out half
Latin,
an
angular,
actual
angular.
quotation. You're leaving out
Corner.
half of an actual quotation.
Angle just
Why?
means corner. It doesn't mean
why-
perfectly measured corner.
Why are you leaving out half a quotation?
Etymology always wins.
Okay, so it says having 3 angles.
Which means 3 corners. So yeah, it still fits, doesn't it?
No, 3 angles. You need a
We could
straight
still
line
just
to
call
get
it
an angle.
triangulus.
You need a straight line to get an
A
angle.
non-180 triangulus.
You
right?
need straight lines to measure an angle. You said it yourself.
all your definitions have got too specific. You need to go back to the original etymology
You
sometimes.
need straight
We
lines
just
to
did.
measure
You
an
need-
angle.
Yeah, you
Dawn.
just said it yourself on your example.
You sound like robot.
In... Well, do you not need straight lines to measure an angle?
You've got these
'Cause
definitions printed in your head.
Do you not need straight lines to measure an angle?
You can measure an angle with a protractor.
Which uses
Dawn.
what?
It's
What does a
degrees.
protractor use?
Degrees of a circle, right?
Does it use curved lines or straight lines to make those angles?
I think it's straight most of the time, innit?
Yeah, can you show me a protractor that doesn't use straight lines?
What are you trying to get me on? I agree.
Yeah, you need. I'm glad you agree. You need straight lines to make an angle. Therefore, when a triangle has 3 angles, it's made up of straight lines.
You can get non-180 trianguluses.
Well, that's what you say. Triangulus.
Triangulus.
What are trianguluses?
3-cornered shapes in Latin.
No, they're. You left out half the quote, like I said.
Angle is the same word as corner in Latin.
No, it's not.
Same meaning.
Hmm?
Same meaning. The etymology is the same. Corner, angular, angle.
And you need a straight line for an angle, Dawn. 2 straight lines for an
Only by the new 2D definitions that you're really stuck on.
angle. You can only
You-
measure an angle to straight lines, Dawn.
Even when we went through your garden experience there, which was kind of funny, you still used straight lines for your angles.
Not for my art, I didn't. I used curved.
No, I said, how are you going to
triangles.
determine? I said, how are you going to determine the supposed angles of the string that's on the ground? You said, go get a protractor, which
It's not-
uses straight
it's not about
lines to
the angle.
determine an angle.
It's about
it's
me
not
getting
about
my
the
art
angle now.
right. And that includes curved triangles, which are part of non-Euclidean geometry. Proving non-Euclidean geometry is a thing in reality.
Is it?
Dawn's head, obviously.
See, you make fun of me saying, I've spent too much time here and there and all that stuff. But I think the problem is you can't stick to a straight line being straight, and you can't stick to triangles having 3 straight lines. You can't stick to
not fair.
angles needing to be 2 straight lines intersecting in order to measure
Correct,
that angle.
but it's not fair how you're putting it. I can't stick to them because I know other ones exist. Why would I stick to them when I've heard of the other ones?
Well, then you're the one that's playing a bad game of semantics, because a line is either straight or it's
All
not.
online in black and white. It's all there. All the meanings,
listen.
all the explanations.
Don. If we were still back in school, right, and we were doing a geometry test, and it said, and the question on the top of the 2 pictures says, circle the line that is straight, and one of the lines below it is straight with a ruler straight, and the other line has an arc in it. Which do you think would be the proper one to circle?
It's a ridiculous question.
Exactly,
No.
I
You're not-
agree.
not-
It is a very ridiculous
You're
question.
not getting serious.
But it's the question you need, Dawn.
I'm being dead serious, because you want to sit here and tell me if you draw a line on a basketball, it's fucking straight, but it's not. See?
I'm imagining that it's straight on one axis. If
Well, you
look
can
at-
imagine whatever you want, but it's not straight. It's not a straight line.
Okay, I agree.
Okay, well that's okay. So then you need to admit that it's a curved line.
Yeah, I know. We still call it a line, though. I'm making
Sure.
up a
Not a
new,
straight
new
line, is
term.
it, Dawn?
We're not making up a new word for it. It's still
Dawn,
called a
it's not a
line.
straight line, is it?
I know. I don't
Okay,
argue straight
okay,
lines.
So,
okay,
Dawn,
so-
say
curved
it's
lines
not
are
a straight line, is it?
I don't argue curved lines are straight.
Okay, beautiful. So is it possible to draw a straight line on a basketball?
No.
What?
No.
Thank you. So, according to the definition of how we come to get angles, It's two straight lines that intersect at a point.
It's possible to draw a straight line on one axis on a
Oh, see,
basketball.
now we're going back to the curved line thing again.
No, I'm just
You've
reminding
already-
you, 2D and 3D are two types of lines.
Let me remind you that you've already agreed that you can't draw a straight line on a basketball.
I know, yeah, of course.
Okay. So a triangle is three straight lines.
No, triangle's three-cornered shape.
My freaking God,
That's the
Don.
original meaning.
Dear,
No,
oh
it's
dear.
not.
It is. I just looked
You
it
just
up.
don't. God, you just go round in circles.
Oh, I
You
know,
hear
yeah.
All
Look
night,
up
just going
triangulus
round
in
and
Latin.
round in
What
circles.
it
Hey,
means. Three-angled shape, three-cornered shape.
Don. Just because you stopped in the middle of you actually, in order to make your point, you literally stopped in the middle of a sentence that was in quotation marks. Do you not see that?
No, that's not what happened.
That is exactly what happened. Okay, read the whole thing then. What does it say? Read what's in quotation marks in its entirety and tell me what it says. Because guess what? I can go check out etymology of words just
It
like you.
says C try dash angle.
So now you skipped the whole quotation mark and went on to what was on the outside of the quotation mark.
I don't know what you're looking at, dude, but you're not looking at what I'm looking at, maybe.
Oh, really? Well, how about this? I'll help you out. Why don't you post what you're looking at in the debate? Why don't you post what you're looking at in whatever room that the debate discussion? How about that? Go ahead, post.
Three-cornered.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Triangulus in Latin.
Go ahead. Post what you're looking at. Well, and we'll see what you're talking about. Yeah, go ahead, Don. I can see that you know how to post because you have the last two posts in that debate discussion. So one more isn't going to hurt you. Go ahead, post what you're looking at.
You're mad, you are.
Yeah, I'm mad. I'm like, go ahead, just post it because obviously we're not looking at the same thing, so we should see what you're looking at.
See as well, Dawn.
So I'm still waiting, and I know that's not what. Okay, that's not what you were reading.
Triangulus.
No, that's not what. Go ahead and post.
Three-cornered.
No.
in Latin.
Go ahead and post what you were reading.
C triangle in quotations.
Yeah, see, you're not going to do it. Why would you be so
Are you seeing the
dishonest
two
right
things
now?
I posted? That's what I've been looking at and reading.
This is what you've been looking at and reading.
These two things, yeah.
No, you talked about. No, you actually straight up, Don. I don't know why you're lying right now because you actually said, where is it? Let me read exactly what you said and where you stopped. I'm on just a second. I have to go back a page. That's why. You said that the three-cornered, and then you stopped there. And I said, in quotation marks, it says three-cornered, comma, having three angles.
I can't see where it says that, what you're looking at.
Well, why don't you show us what you're looking at then?
I did, dude. 5 minutes ago. I was before you asked for it.
I don't see anything that says three-cornered on what you have there.
Today at 6:37 p.m. It's got a massive red line around it. It's the etymology for the word triangle.
Okay, well. That's what you were looking at?
Yeah, the original meaning of the word, where it comes from in Latin. Doesn't specify anything about straight lines or 180 degrees.
Here, I'll get you a better one. Just a second.
I'm back. Where have we got to? I saw the.
Not a whole lot further.
Still on the triangles.
Yeah, he's trying to say a triangle has 3 corners.
3 straight lines in Euclid, isn't it? The trilateral figures.
Yeah, but the original meaning, triangulus in Latin, just states 3-cornered.
Yeah.
So I'm saying it's you that's changed definitions to being too
What?
strict.
What's a corner?
The original meaning just means a 3-cornered shape.
What's a corner?
Just means a corner. It doesn't mean a perfectly measured,
Round.
straight corner, does it? It just means corner.
Triangle
It
is
says-
3 straight sides.
It says
Yeah, that's the new
3-cornered.
definition, yeah.
Don, no, Don. It's very specific. It says 3-cornered, having 3 angles in its entirety.
Yeah,
Then
so
it
when you
goes
look
on-
up the word angle,
Okay.
it just means corner.
Corner angle.
Angle has a more specific definition than corner.
I'm not looking up the recent definitions. I'm looking up the etymology of the word.
Yeah, so am I. I
right.
just posted it in debate discussion for you.
So we
Corner
like the
means
etymology,
angle.
the old words. Is that what we
So
go
I
with,
can't
Don?
tell, but I see what you're posting. Yeah, different thing to me. So that one does say 3 angles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
It doesn't say 180
the oldest
with
then.
straight lines.
The oldest would be Euclid, right? Because that's like, what, 300 BC? Right, so that would be the oldest, and that is defined as having 3 straight sides. So,
Yeah, so who's changing what? This one's 13th and 14th century.
yeah, so Euclid beats that one for age if you
Yeah,
took an
that's true.
etymology.
Find it, Bev, and cite it.
So it's you that's trying to change the word.
Yeah.
Bev, you'll have to find it and cite it. I'll have a
Find
look.
Right
what?
there, I cited
put it in.
debate discussion.
Yeah,
Two.
debate discussion. I've got Euclid. It's in there. It says.
And look at
Trilateral
my
figures.
post. It says, yeah, it says that your fucking definition comes from the 13th or 14th century.
Well, what year's Euclid?
300 BC or something like that, right? It's the
So there,
it's the basics of all known mathematics, and
there you go, Don. You're the one that's trying to water down the definitions.
Okay, I think we're all just beating around the bush of.
I think we're all done here.
yeah.
I gotta go back to Gems. I'll be back next week. We'll figure something else out.
What I'm saying is, we still call it a triangle because we haven't got another word for it.
You do.
It's not that different when it's on a curved
yeah, it
surface.
is. It's not got straight sides.
Yeah, we
So
call it a
it's
spherical
that-
triangle.
Oh.
And then you know what we mean. We mean a curved triangle, like triangle with curved sides.
Then it's not a triangle, dude.
It's still a 3-cornered shape.
It's like I got a cat and I got a dog. They both look fairly close to the same, but one goes rough and one goes.
Yeah, one of them's a dog and the other one's a non-dog.
Yeah, but they're very, very similar. They got
Breaks the
fur,
3 straight
legs.
sides part of the definition. I'll give you a Brexit. But
Oh,
you know,
great! Well,
that doesn't
thanks
mean
for
we have to
giving-
come up with a brand new word. We still call it a triangle.
Well, that's your business.
Yeah, you do.
But it's not a triangle.
That's
You
what
can
they've
call-
settled on. It's
you
not
can
just
call
my
my.
business.
You
All
can call my.
mathematicians have settled on it. They still call it a triangle.
You
They
can
don't
call my
say,
dog
this
a cat if
3-sided
you
shape.
want.
They say the triangle.
Everyone agrees. Yeah, you're right, Don. Let's just go on
Appeal
with
to
everybody else
consensus.
says. I can't
Yeah.
because it just doesn't make logical sense.
Pretty sure somebody made the word up for a triangle.
Appeal to consensus, Don. That's a good way to go.
Triangle.
Isn't that a logical fallacy? Appeal to consensus.
My new artwork for my next EP has got a big triangle on it, Illuminati pyramid.
That's.
Nice.
Are you gonna do it with curved lines or straight lines?
They're straight because it's just 2D art.
All right.
Oh, you can use curved lines if you want. You can hump them out.
If I did, I would still call it a triangle.
But
You
wouldn't
could
be,
at
would it?
least do a coordinate transformation. At least.
Do you like the Illuminati, Don?
I
don't
like
think
the
that
idea of
keeps bending
illuminated
straight lines.
ones that want to help people, but I don't like the idea of illuminated ones controlling people.
So the illuminated ones know that triangles have straight lines. Did you know that?
They still call them triangles. That's the end of the argument.
Yeah.
That's because they have straight
Yeah,
lines.
they
like I
are
said.
You
triangles.
can't change language. You don't get to change language. That's what they're called.
Well, that's that's the funny thing, Don, is you're the one trying to change the language.
No,
You
I'm
brought up, you
defending
made that
a type
argument.
of mathematics that I've heard of. That's it. I'm just defending it as a thing. It's just
but-
it's a thing they do in math.
Have you
But
ever
it's a-
heard of a spherical square?
I brought that up to him earlier.
actually.
He said that it was a square.
That would be the same argument, just with 4 sides.
You don't think something like a spherical square sounds?
I mean, yeah, I even nearly googled that term. Let me do it now.
Let's go. Tell you what. See if you can find the definition of a triangle within non-Euclidean geometry. See if you can do it, Don.
So,
Definition of a triangle in non-Euclidean geometry, please.
I'd just call it a 3-sided shape.
No. Can you find us, wrote down, the definition of a triangle within your non-Euclidean geometry, please?
I don't know where to search for specific non-Euclidean definitions. I don't know where to look for that.
No, you just have a look up. But surely
that
the
won't-
definitions of a triangle are within Euclidean geometry.
Yeah, non-Euclidean breaks those definitions.
Okay, so let's see the definition, please, of a non-Euclidean triangle.
I just told you I haven't got them. I don't know. I'll have to read through all papers to get a definition. And it
Well,
would just
to
be
find one
someone
definition, they
specific.
come before everything else. That's
It's not
what
in the
you
dictionary. is
use the definitions to define the geometry. How can you not find the definition of something that you're ready and willing to say
let
they
me look it
use?
up for you. Let me guess it before I look it up.
Guess it. Okay.
It's going to be triangle where the angles add up to more than 180 degrees. Or less.
I won't reckon that'll happen because that's impossible. A triangle with more than 180 degrees, or even
They
less
still-
than
they still
180.
call it a
That sounds
triangle, though.
ridiculous.
Me and them.
It's
still
not a
call it-
triangle.
We
Is it?
still call it a triangle.
What, they define something that's not a triangle as a triangle because you would like it to be a
It's still
triangle.
It's still a 3-sided shape. That's why.
We go back to that other worlds theory at the beginning, Don. Do you reckon there is an other world where a triangle can be like a circle triangle?
No, but only if they switch the words around.
Yeah, do you think that's possible for them to define something in a different world differently?
Yeah, in another world, I think it's
and
possible
them
for
to
come up
actually
with different
change
sounding
the
words
object
for the
because
same
they
thing.
define it differently.
No, the object won't change. The shape
Okay,
doesn't change.
right. So the triangle will always have 3 straight sides and 3 angles that add up to
Not always 3 straight sides.
180
No.
degrees.
It's a non-Euclidean triangle. It breaks that definition.
Well, let's see that definition then.
You do know, Bev, he plays video games where they calculate stuff with...
No. They just have you
Maths.
going out of one door. I mean, like he says, this non-Euclidean. I mean, it's fantastic, Jem. Dawn. But have you ever played Pac-Man? Because that was non-Euclidean. Have you ever looked at a map? A map of the world?
No.
Where you go off one side and then come back on the other side.
Well,
That's fucking non-Euclidean, right? It's bullshit. Doesn't exist. Can't happen.
Dude, they use portals for Pac-Man. This game is actually 3D world.
They use portals.
With non-Euclidean math. I watched the guy do a whole lecture about it. It's
Look
not
at that.
made up.
Computer
Not
games
made
have gone really good, haven't they? Since
He spoke for 45
they
minutes
just
about
use
how he puts the
portals.
math in.
he does what? He
But
puts
did
the
he speak
Puts
45...
the math in, so it world wraps in 3 toruses on every axis.
Yeah, so he goes out of one door and comes in another door over the
Yeah,
other
but
side
not
of
as
the
a
room.
portal. No,
No, definitely not.
it's
as a
fully
portal.
mapped. You can walk round and round and round forever
There's no portals. No.
and see it all.
Oh, right. But it's like that, like Pac-Man, where it went through a door on one side and came through the other
It
side.
uses non-Euclidean math to world map.
Yeah. Non-Euclidean math. Euclid doesn't use any math. There's no numbers in any Euclid.
It isn't
It's like
Euclid.
the page
It's
numbers.
non-Euclid.
Well, why did you call it non-Euclidean math then?
Well, what do you want me to call it? Non-Euclidean geometry, math.
It's maths,
well,
it's numbers, what the fuck? Not
Type of
numbers!
mathematics.
Not numbers!
It's the type of
Fucking love it,
mathematics,
I'm
that's
having
why I
that.
called it math.
Well done, Dawn. That is genius. We do some maths using not numbers.
Here's the
So,
definition.
have you got a definition of the new numbers that we're using?
Spherical triangle.
That's not
is a
maths.
figure-
Do not
figure.
maths.
Figure formed on the surface of a sphere by three great circular arcs intersecting pairwise in three vertices.
Go on, give us that
Where did-
again.
Where did you get that?
Read it
at?
again, it's there in the chat.
Go on.
A spherical triangle is a figure form. It's a figure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah, it's
triangle's a figure. Yeah.
formed on the surface of a sphere by three great circular arcs intersecting pairwise in three vertices.
You see how they've tried to explain it without using the wrong words?
Without using straight lines.
But they don't use the word shape, they use the word
They
figure.
use the words arcs, don't they?
Yeah, arcs. And so
Great circular
and,
arcs.
and vertices, they don't even use the word point or angle. They use vertices.
Yeah.
So
That's
so
great,
how
that,
do you
isn't it?
how do you measure the angle of two circular arcs intersecting, Don?
They're great.
I can't
Great.
help you. I don't
They're
know.
great.
What angle would they be at?
I just call it non-Euclidean math. I don't know how you measure the angles and shit.
What's the definition of an angle, Don? Do you know?
It breaks that as well, I think. That's why they've called it three vertices.
It breaks it. It breaks the definition of an angle.
Yeah.
So then why are they using the word angle in there?
Because there's no other word. It's still the same thing. It's just non-Euclidean.
But it breaks the definition.
Of
Yeah,
an
that's the
angle.
same thing.
Triangle.
You can find a non-Euclidean angle definition, probably. I'll look that up for you if you want.
Go on then. Let's see that. I bet it's something to do with vertices and the intersection points. And an extension from maybe a radius.
It's just arcs intersecting. They don't make angles.
I don't think you can. There's no such thing as an angle within there because spherical geometry is the two-dimensional surface of the sphere.
Well, there's
So you
There's
need
gotta
to
be a-
tap in. You need some sort of vertical height in order to get an angle.
Is there a name in Euclidean math, Bev, where two arc lines intersect, like two circles or anything like that? There must be a name for that, no?
Intersection point of two. I don't know. I'll have a look.
Oh, God. I found an article and now I'm reading about postulates. Might have to stop.
Yeah, you don't want to read too much about postulates. It might show you how you're all messed up.
Any portion of a circumference is called an arc. Is that what you're talking about when you talk about arcs? Because that is defined in Euclid, right? Any portion of a
I'll find a definition.
circumference is called an arc.
Yeah,
So that's the circumference line, right?
It says here, as an example, in Euclidean geometry, the sum of the interior angles of a triangle is 180 degrees. In non-Euclidean geometry, this is not the case. So it's not saying, so because of that, we don't call them angles anymore. It just says it's not 180 anymore,
Mm-hmm.
which suggests they still call it an angle, even if it's a curved angle, right?
No, there's no. Well, that's a cangle that we're calling it.
Okay.
Right?
Angle. I think
Yeah.
that sounds silly. I'd rather just
You're
call it an
helping.
angle. Still.
Yeah, you're helping Fight the Flat Earth make this Fight the
Non-Euclidean
Flat
angle.
Earth geometry.
I'd rather call it a non-Euclidean angle.
Because there's loads to do, right? Because you have to redefine a parallel line that intersects with some things as well. I mean, there's that to do, yeah. This is
Non-Euclidean
step one.
redefines all these things.
Redefines them. So
Yep.
you were the one saying that Bev and people like Bev and myself and whatnot were redefining things. Now you're telling us non-Euclidean is redefining things.
Yeah, you're too specific with your definitions. That's what I was saying.
Oh, heaven forbid if a definition was specific. so you actually had an idea what it meant.
Heaven forbid.
Let's make it as vague as we can, so it can mean absolutely anything.
No, that's not what I'm arguing for.
That makes a lot of sense, Don.
Yeah, traditionalists. Well, that's all we are, isn't it, Don? We're
want to
just
start the
not
word
with the
candle
new
going,
times.
I don't mind.
No, that's you guys, Don. You ones
about
that
a
are
line?
helping fight the flat Earth, make
For a
this
line, we
new
call it a line.
geometries. Get me's making.
It has to be Kangle with a C because Kangle with a K is a dog, and we don't want to get that confused.
Lines and cangles.
Okay.
But although Don, you might feel like they're like close enough to be the same thing anyhow.
What about capes instead of shapes?
Well, the shape's still a shape, isn't it? I mean, you
it?
can't. There's no need to redefine.
Oh, you're
that.
fine with that? You're fine with still calling
You,
shapes?
yeah, you need to find
curve.
some sort of a definition of a straight line, which will
Well,
allow
earlier, God's
for
Couple told me-
curvature.
He said a three-sided shape that's curved. He said to me, "Well, I don't even know what that is. It's just three lines."
Yeah, it is.
Like he wasn't even happy calling it a shape anymore.
No, I just said I don't know what that would be. Do you have something in mind?
It's
I
a
said,
three-sided
actually.
shape.
Yeah, and I said, did you have something in mind that you wanted to
Could
talk
could
about
you
it?
like divide a circle up into three, and then sort of put those three lines together and have a circle?
A retarded-looking circle,
Yeah.
like in the like in that middle picture.
No, you could just
Well,
have a
that's all it
circle,
is.
couldn't you? You just divide a circle up into three lines and then put those three lines together, and you'd make a circle. You wouldn't necessarily make
I
a
think that-
triangle.
That is a type of non-Euclidean geometry. What you're talking about, where it wraps right round.
Where a triangle can be a circle. Yeah. Yeah, it sounds
Yes.
believable, right?
I mean, it's silly when it gets to that point. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so you can't really go around redefining things because, as I've just shown you, if you do that, you can end up with a circle being a triangle. And
But that's only in extreme circumstances.
yeah, but PhD Tony has a triangle on a surface of a sphere that has three 180 degrees angles. That is basically what I've just described as a circle. Except it wouldn't be 180 degrees, it would just be a straight line.
Cool.
Like, I'm curious, Don. This last thing you posted in the text, the last thing you posted in text, right? Can you look at that for a second?
Yeah.
Now, the middle circle, I'm gonna call it. If you made it all one color, like pick your favorite. What's your favorite color? Red, blue, or yellow?
Red.
Okay, let's say we made it all red, and we erased the little tails that go past each other, and we erased the inside little half circles. Wouldn't it just look like a sloppy circle at that point?
Yeah.
But yet you want to call this somehow or another. This is a triangle in your world.
This is
Like,
an extreme example. I wouldn't personally call that a triangle, but in non-Euclidean geometry, that is a triangle. Yeah, three-sided shape.
So you think that's
Because it has
acceptable?
Points. It has points still.
You think that's acceptable to call
It
this
has three
a
vertices
triangle?
still. So it's not a
You
straight.
think
can
that's
see the
acceptable?
vertices.
Now let me ask you this. You remember I brought up the old geometry test earlier. Let's say this was a geometry test, and these three shapes without the extra little tits on them and the angles on them were on a geometry test, and it said on the top, it said, circle the shape that is a triangle. Do you think that if someone circled anything but the first shape, they would still get the answer right to
Yes, I'd
geometry?
circle all three.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, non-Euclidean geometry rules, right? Which
Yeah.
non-Euclidean geometry? Who knows? Might not even have been invented yet. You could just make any old shit up, right,
It was
Don?
on the test.
You
I'd
say it's
assume
just non-Euclidean. Yeah, it's
I'd
not
assume it-
Euclidean,
I
so...
assume the question was on about non-Euclidean if it was on a test.
Oh no, you wouldn't. I guarantee
would.
you, if you got this on a test in any fucking grade throughout
If I was
school,
5,
you
you'd
would
be right.
only
If I
circle
was
the fucking
18 or
first shape.
20 studying non-Euclidean geometry and math, then I'd expect it on a test, wouldn't I? That's be the whole point. That's why they've drawn it. That's the extreme examples. One's opposite. One's curving
Yeah.
inwards. One's curving outwards. They're still called triangles.
One is a sloppy circle that you're trying to call a fucking
Triangle.
a triangle. I could, you know what? If I had a dull drill bit and I fucking drilled through a hard piece of steel, the hole would probably look like that second shape, and you'd call it, "Oh, look at the triangle you drilled with your drill." Like, come on, Don.
If your point is that
Come.
some triangles in non-Euclidean geometry can
you
be
can
like
seriously,
almost a circle, then I agree.
You can seriously look at that
I
fucking
agree.
middle
It's
shape and
similar
call
to
it a triangle.
I can agree.
It's similar to a circle. What do you think it's closer to, a circle or a triangle?
It's actually closer to a circle in everyday life, obviously.
But you want to call it a triangle.
Yeah, the one on the right though, that's still a triangle. That's closer to a triangle than anything else in it, than a line or a dot.
How do you measure angles with the curved lines, Don?
I don't know. I can't remember that bit.
Mm-hmm.
How do you do it?
I don't.
Yeah, you can't.
You're not interested in it.
You can't.
No, I'm really interested in all this stuff. So
Oh.
much so that I've come to the realization and the understanding that you cannot have angles with curved lines.
What do you call them? Vertices.
Intersections?
Okay, fair enough. How do you measure them?
What do you mean? How do I measure? There's nothing there to really measure. What am I measuring?
You'd have to draw another straight line or two straight lines, wouldn't you?
You're measuring the gap in the intersection.
But where?
Gap in
what
the
point?
intersection.
Yeah, compared to a circle.
Which point?
Compared to the 360 degrees in a circle.
Okay, let me ask you this, Don. Hold on. Let's take the last picture, for example, the one farthest to the right, right? Here you have a straight yellow line and a curved red line, right? And there's a little yellow angle mark in there, right? So
Yeah.
what happens with, let's say that's in quotation marks, even though I disagree, I'm just playing along with your world for a minute. Let's say that gap there gives a particular angle, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now let's move down the yellow line another inch and make another arc the same. Now the gap is completely different and obscured by the red line being curved. That's going to give you another, in quotation marks, angle that's not going to agree with your first, in quotation marks, angle.
But remember, these angles are measured on a curved surface, not on this 2D surface that you're looking at now.
Oh my God.
You're
Don.
looking at non-Euclidean examples on a normal Euclidean surface.
Is that what you're going to say?
That's the answer, dude.
Dude, the best way of looking at this is Euclidean is reality and non-Euclidean is non-reality. So
No,
in technical
That's denying
terms,
curved
or in
3D
Dern's
surfaces.
turn,
you're completely denying
anything
that 3D
can
curved
happen.
surfaces exist.
No, I know. Like a sphere, I've seen
Right.
spheres.
Yeah, why would you
They are curved surfaces.
Why would you deny it?
Like what? Why would I? I'm not denying. I've seen a sphere,
Why
and
are you
it's
denying
like
a whole branch of geometry that's used
What?
to
Dude.
measure the
No.
surface of a sphere.
no. I just said no. The surface
would
of
you
a
want to
sphere, you
deny
can
it?
do that with a tape measure. I can do that myself.
Yeah,
I can
curved
put a tape measure around it, and they usually come in diameter measurements.
tape measure, yeah. Or
No,
string.
in order to measure a ball, they come in diameter measurements. That's how you measure a curve, isn't it? A ball,
Which is the
a
ruler, which is
sphere.
the ball. It'll just stick off into space.
Into space, like the space around the ball, the surface of
Normal
the ball
geometry doesn't
that you can measure
Well,
with a
you use a
ruler,
different type.
right? Done. I'm saying non-Euclidean is not that, right? A sphere is what you can see. You can see it, you can measure it, you can touch it, right? That's Euclidean space. Like, we live in Euclidean space. It's three-dimensional, right? There's no fourth dimension. It's
No,
not
you're lying
there.
about the
And
definition
non-Euclidean geometry.
You're lying about what Euclidean means.
Sorry?
You were lying about what Euclidean means.
Euclidean geometry is like there's a book, right? It's a book with definitions, then the axioms and
Doesn't mean the
postulates,
thing we live in,
and
does
then
it?
there are
Type of
full of
geometry for measuring flat
propositions, which are
It is.
all the proofs of everything that was stated earlier. It is an
About what we live
axiomatic
in.
system that proves itself. That is what Euclidean geometry
Euclidean
is.
has nothing to do with what we live in. It's a type of geometry.
Yes, Euclidean
Measuring
geometry
surfaces.
is the geometry of the place we live, Dawn.
Not the curved
Dawn,
bits.
Dawn, if you take an object and put it 10
Yeah, I
feet
do.
above your head, and then you take another object and put it 15 feet away from you, right? Euclidean geometry will be right about the distances, like those objects form. The distance between the object above your head and the distance in front of you will be twice the square root, whatever, of those other two
Before you
distances. So-
try and trip me up, I just want to say I'm not saying non-Euclidean geometry is useful. I'm not saying I'm into it. I'm just saying it's a type of geometry, maths, that people use
Yeah,
for
but not reality.
theorized
But
curved
it's not.
surfaces
It-
or
it's
real
not.
curved surfaces.
You use regular Euclidean geometry for a curved surface. You can use that. Curved
Can-
spheres and
can if you want,
circles
yeah,
and
it
all
doesn't
that
always
stuff is
work
in
perfectly, though.
Euclidean geometry.
Doesn't always work.
You
well.
understand that, right? You make circles in Euclidean geometry. You make a sphere in Euclidean geometry.
They're all defined within Euclidean geometry.
Yeah,
That's
this
where
is
you
just
know.
I'm not arguing against that. I'm
Euclidean
not saying
geometry
anything
is
about that.
nothing but it's the agreed upon terms. It's like language. We agree that the means the. Euclidean geometry is just we agree a line is the shortest distance between the 2 points.
Yeah,
That's
all
all
I'm
it is.
saying
It's
is-
just
All I'm saying is sometimes we find other three-sided shapes because they're on curved surfaces, and we still decide to call them a triangle, whether you like it or not.
I'm not bothered about. I'm very technical and very logical, and I'd have to say, if it hasn't got 3 straight sides and angles that add up to 180 degrees, it's not a
People
triangle
that came up with this stuff,
as defined.
people that found this stuff, you know, in the ancient times, didn't think, oh, we can't call it a triangle because it doesn't fit that other definition that someone wrote down.
What
so
do
we
you
have
mean
to call
when
it a
they?
bisangle. Let's call it a
When
bisangle.
did they find it?
And then they'll know they're 2 different types. They just thought, no, it's still a 3-sided shape. It's still got 3
Spherical
corners.
trigonometry.
We'll
Yeah,
still
I
call it
said
a
that
triangle.
early on.
Bro, just because
And we
something
still
has
call
3
it that
sides
to
doesn't
this
mean it's a
day.
triangle. You can't just make
call it a
something with
spherical
3
triangle.
sides and call it a triangle. No, that's not. So I think anything with 4 sides and it's a square.
Yeah, spherical squares. We've just had that earlier, didn't we, Dawn?
Yeah, I couldn't find it on
Come
Google.
on, Dawn. You can't have a square with one side curved. Then it's not a square.
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't call that a square. I'm not
Okay,
arguing
well
for that.
then
I'm
if you
arguing
do the
for a
same,
triangle.
okay, well then a triangle. You curve a side of a triangle, it's not a triangle anymore.
Not by that definition, but they still call it one.
Not by any definition. You would have to
Yeah,
have to literally
By
change the
non-Euclidean
definition.
definition. Right,
Well,
and the
but-
old Latin.
But no, by the self-explanatory definition of a triangle. Like even if you never
I've
shown a
cited
triangle,
his
even if you never
Euclidean
defined
definition yet.
no,
Yeah,
a
yeah,
triangle
I'll put it in the
is a
chat.
drawn shape. It's like an apple, right? Like if you start
No,
saying,
they're
well,
all
the
types of
apple
triangle,
should be a
but that's not
pear,
the original definition.
So, trilateral figures or triangles by 3 straight lines.
it's funny. It's only the triangle he changes. He won't change the square because he realizes that you curve a side of a square and it's no longer a square, right? But a triangle, for some reason, is up for grabs in the terms of what can happen to shapes and let them still be the shape that they are.
I
Yeah.
think there is examples of squares with curved sides, actually, mate. If you look it up.
Okay, so if you could curve 4 sides of a square and you like a lotus petal, and you're gonna say that's a square.
No, I'm going to say non-Euclidean geometry still calls this a square.
Yeah,
You would
non-Euclidean
call a
geometry
flower
isn't
a
reality.
square.
I call 3-sided shapes triangles, even if they're on curved surfaces. Yes, I do.
Okay,
Dude,
do you
look
do that
what-
with squares too?
Look
You
what he
call a
calls
square
it.
with curved
Yeah,
surfaces?
mostly. Yeah,
a
yeah.
square?
But yeah. If they're
Look
just
what he calls a
slightly curved-
triangle in the chat. He calls that circle a triangle in chat. You go up to 10 to the hour. Look at the middle drawing. It's a
If
circle.
I was answering a math
He calls
test,
it a triangle.
Yeah,
I
don't
told you I'd
like
call it a
we
circle
know
every day. You took a
people
bit
in Narnia can do whatever the fuck they want, right? Because that's what happens, and that's where you are with non-Euclidean geometry, right? You
Exactly, it's
realise
Narnia
that, don't you?
example. Narnia is the flat Earth, dude, that you
No,
go
no,
into
no.
to escape
Narnia
reality
is
through the water.
non-Euclidean. It's not real. It
I've
doesn't
read the book, mate.
exist.
Narnia
You
is
can't.
flat. Narnia is the made-up one.
Yeah, that's what spherical and non-Euclidean geometry is.
Narnia is the flat Earth that you escape to from reality.
Yeah.
You know what's funny as hell is you have earlier on you were saying that we're the ones that are changing definitions and stuff until you realized that the definitions came before your fucking what's that called? Your
etymology.
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 Yeah. So you know
Being
it's
clever,
your
showing you that the
listen.
old Latin
It's
for
your
triangulus doesn't
hold
say
on, hold
anything
on.
about straight line.
Hold on, Don. It's your fucking beliefs and your religion that's changing all the definitions to fit that agenda.
No, dude, don't put that on me. Hang on me.
Well, that's what it is. You're the one that brought it up. It
Not
was your
religion
point.
for me, mate.
You thought it was a great point until you found out that it was actually the other
It's
way
a
around.
great
Now
point.
it's a now it's a
The old
stupid
Latin
point.
for triangulus just means three-sided shape, so it still
So the
fits
Latin,
non-Euclidean.
so the
That was
Latin,
just me being clever.
so the Latin changed the meaning of a triangle, and you want to go with them.
Oh, they just didn't be specific about all the definitions of Euclid.
So an
Well-
ice cream cone is a triangle.
Wait a second. You have a
Think about an ice cream
specific.
cone shape. A
You
V
have
with a thing. You're saying that's a triangle.
Of course you would.
Yeah, it's
A V with a
non-Euclidean.
C on top of
Anything
it is a
goes.
triangle.
Yeah, yeah.
Come on, man.
But Don, why would you think you have a specific definition of something, and then to take a watered down definition of it and say that the watered down definition is somehow better than the very
explain how-
specific
To
definition?
explain how some people are not as specific as you. So
Yeah, but it's like
same word.
yeah, but this is a particular fucking specialty. It's like going to be a doctor or an engineer or whatever, taking a term that they use that's very specific, so
Yeah.
it can't be mistaken. So and then saying, yeah, that's all right. Let's just fucking
I'm
call
afraid
it
I
this. anyhow.
believe in 3D curved surfaces, and I'm happy still calling that shape a triangle.
Okay,
If
well,
you're
there's a
not,
problem
then
here.
don't call it that. You can call
Well,
it a chikangle, whatever you want.
But fundamentally, a curve is many different straight lines, right? So when you, and this is what you took. This is
I
why
measured it,
everything. This is why
What do you
everything
mean a
is
curve's
defined.
many fundamental straight lines? No, it's not.
Well, how many sides technically, right? Like if you were to
It's a
graph,
circle.
if you were to graph a circle is an equidistant from a singular point.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So when you start thinking about curves, right? You can't. When you start bending a
Yeah,
straight
you
line,
need a
right,
radius.
you turn it into more than one line,
Yeah,
so to speak.
exactly. In order to describe a curve, i.e. a circle, you need the radius length. Now that radius, the distance from the centre to the extremity of it, that has to be a straight fucking line. You cannot bend straight lines. Even when you're forming a fucking curve. Dawn, you're living in fantasy land. With, like, it's only your imagination that's allowing you to have this.
For one small section of geometry and mathematics. That's all I'm doing.
No, you can't start bending straight lines, which is what you have to do.
I've admitted I don't want to call them straight lines if they're bent.
I
call
know,
them
you
lines.
go in there in your mind, though. The
Euclid
possibility
line.
is there. I just don't have that possibility. There's no way. You can't alter a straight line.
You've flatlanded yourself and chosen
No,
a few
I c-
definitions,
no.
and you're just stuck there.
No, you just
Can't
can't
just
say
bend a straight line.
non-reality and then just get away with it.
I'm not
When
bending
you draw
straight lines.
lines in geometry, when you draw
Saying this is
lines,
what I call that
they are
shape.
point
That's all
to
I'm saying.
point. Well, point to point. So if you you have to connect points to make shapes in geometry, right? That's how you make lines. You connect points. So when you can't just take a line and bend it, right? You need the points, you need the coordinates for the line to follow. And once you start making the coordinates, fundamentally in geometry, you start making your connecting line segments.
But if you're
So
doing
this
art
is
on
why
the edge of
you can't
on a
just
ball,
curve the side of
let's
the
say
triangle.
I commission you.
This
I
is getting
commission you
boring,
to help me
Dawn.
do a sculpture in my garden, and it's a big
Yeah,
sphere.
a
Big
wonderful
sphere, and it's 8 feet
imagination.
across. When you've got to do that art, you're going to be doing curved lines, right?
Oh,
That's a curved line.
It's a nice pattern on the sphere.
Yeah, I
But
know what a
not
curved line is on a
geometrically.
sphere, Dawn. We're not talking about
You can't
that, are we?
avoid it. It's there in life.
That's not a straight line.
It's
Don't-
straight
That's
on
not
one
a geometric.
axis.
That's not a
3D world.
geometric curve. Geometry is talking about like you have to start with the basic geometry. You can't not define what a triangle is and then go out into the real world and say, "Oh, this could be a triangle." No, you didn't decide. Just like you can't say this is a sphere when you haven't
What do you want to
agreed
call
on
them?
sphere.
Can you not see-
What do you want to
agree
call
on the
those three-sided
terms.
shapes?
Right,
that are
guys,
curved?
can you
What do
not
wanna call them?
agree, right? Because we've been through all of this here, and most people, I don't know whether they missed it or not. Especially, I don't think you have. You definitely haven't done. When you go through geometry, it is a logical system that starts off with literally nothing. You start off with a point. It's nothing. Doesn't even exist. From that, you can then build your knowledge. And every step of the way, it explains the last. It builds upon itself all the way through. Right? So you gain a knowledge through... And it's more of an exercise in preparing your brain to understand the logical process that you're going through. You can't just read it. You have to practice it, geometry. And it gets your mind active in a way for preparing yourself how to think, right?
Can you try that on a sphere surface?
Try what?
Doing geometry and getting your brain in the right
You
flow.
just get a ball and you look at it. And then you can use all of the known geometric principles of Euclidean geometry to work out the size of everything on that ball. You can work out pi, you can measure it, you can put it in a box and work out the right angle, so you work out the distance of it, right? You can do all of that within Euclidean space,
Let's say
right?
you draw
There
a
is
3-sided
no
shape.
need to
What would you
enter a
call that
place
shape?
that isn't real.
If you drew a 3-sided shape on the ball, what would you call that shape?
A three-sided shape.
Okay, fair enough. I'd call it a triangle.
I wouldn't, because a triangle has 3 straight sides.
Only in that one definition you found.
No, that is the definition. It's within
Is it?
Euclidean geometry, right?
You've just decided that is
No,
the
it is within Euclidean geometry, which means that all of the principles within the Euclidean geometry, like a point, a line, and all of that, right? All of it would have to go, because a triangle wasn't like that Euclid said, right? So the fundamentals of everything that we use in surveying, right? Have you heard of trigonometry? Have you heard of Pythagorean theorem?
I think we need to move on to another.
Right, but they're triangles, right? They're based on triangles, more specifically a right angle triangle. So it's a very specific triangle, right? But that is the triangle we use to measure things. There's only one shape that can do that. That is that right angle triangle. And because of that, and all the principles that we know of a triangle with straight lines, 180 degrees, we can make measurements and predict things very, very accurately. In fact, precisely. Now, if you start bending a bit of that, and you'll change an angle a bit, it doesn't really matter. Yes, it does. Matters everything.
Well, when you come up with a
Pythagorean
new
theorem
terms
would
for these
collapse,
things,
and
you should
no
let the math-
more trigonometry.
No, and they can adjust their whole language for you.
Yeah, because
What
it's
are
a
you talking about,
conceptual. Dawn.
Wait a second. What did you say?
I'll say it again. when you
Developing
come up with
something
new
new.
terms for all of these things, you can let the mathematician community know, and they'll adjust their language for you.
He's not developing any new terms.
Okay, don't bother then. Just you have to live with them using the terms that they already use. Triangle. You can say to me, and you can say to me for 3 hours, it's not a triangle, but they'll just carry on calling it that. You're not going to do anything about it. Why are you whinging to me?
I'm not whinging to you, Don. I'm just trying to get you to sort of have a think about the words you're using.
I have.
Yeah, so I know, but
I
some
use
other
the
people
words
have told you something, and you're going to go with that, definitely.
The
You
type of
didn't bother
geometry that
thinking about
exists.
it yourself, do you?
I can acknowledge curved 3D surfaces.
Me too.
Yeah, I asked you that question a long time ago, Don. Do you think that Euclidean geometry doesn't involve spheres and circles?
I answered it, did I?
Yeah, so why? But you make it sound like someone, like what Bev is saying, can't figure out spheres and circles because of what he's saying. That's not true.
No, I'm not saying he can't figure them out, but it's like he's
So the
trying to
Euclidean.
deny that people want to measure the surface sometimes. And it's just, I don't. You're all just saying it's not a triangle, but I'm just saying they still call it one, mate. What are you going to do about it? If you haven't got a new term, they're just going to carry on calling it that, aren't they?
Show me how you measure the angle of two curved lines. Then
I've got an article about it, but you won't enjoy reading it.
I won't enjoy reading
I'm
it.
not enjoying looking at it. I've only looked at a couple of paragraphs.
It's hard to get through all the bullshit.
I'm willing to believe, Dawn, seeing as you're in here telling us that you think triangles can have curved sides. I'm willing to believe there are other people that also think that.
All mathematicians still call it a triangle. All mathematicians.
But I bet when pushed, they would say a triangle has 3 straight sides and
except in non-Euclidean geometry.
180 degrees.
Except in non-Euclidean geometry, where it curves on one of the axes.
You think that's what they'd say?
2 of the axes, or 1.
Have you got any? Have you got any too? So, any mathematician, right? That you can find that you just ask them. Don't prep them on it. Just ask them what is their definition of a triangle, and let's see what they come up with.
You tag Nick if you care. He'll tell you because he studies it.
He studies what? Triangles.
Maths and shit.
You do realize in this article they're talking about theories, right? They said it's possible to build a theory of geometry where the fifth postulate is not true. It's just theorizing.
It's weird, isn't it? One of the books comes with a chock full of proofs, and the other one you struggle to find definitions for. It's like one of them's a thought experiment.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that, mate. Right, it does say theory.
Yeah, no, I'm reading it. You said I wouldn't read it, but I am.
It's interesting. Oh, I didn't say. Oh, I said you wouldn't enjoy
You
it.
actually, well, I'm enjoying reading it. What's wrong with reading it?
When it gets further down, they give you examples to do.
Yeah, you posted some of the examples. A retarded-looking circle is considered a triangle in their theory. That's fine. I'll never understand anything that doesn't have 3 straight lines as a triangle. It's simple. It falls out of the definition.
I'll give you that in this citation. It does call it a theory.
Yeah, I know it does. I read it. Listen, dude. The definition of a triangle is 3 straight lines. I don't know what else to tell you. Like, that's what the definition is. If you want to say that you believe something else outside of the definition can still go by the name of a triangle, that's fine. That's your business. But I can read. I know what definitions are.
I'm into sacred
simple.
geometry. I'm very into symbols and triangles in general. The pyramids and shit. But I'm just saying, there's lots of mathematicians that do this stuff, whether it's totally theory, just about space fabric, or whether it helps you do some measurements on the surface of spheres and other curved surfaces. It's a thing that mathematicians do. It's a type of math.
Well, I can go theorize about Narnia too, but that doesn't make it right or true.
Have you ever seen my ball, Dawn?
Yeah, I want you to
have you seen
put two fingers
have you seen
on
my
it and
sphere?
then there's a hump between them.
You seen my sphere? I'll get the video camera on, should I?
Put two fingers on the ball and admit there's a hump between them.
I'm curious, do you think, I don't want to get off too far off topic, but do you think parallel lines converge on a ball as well?
Yeah, I think when you measure the horizontal, it will eventually converge because it goes off the ball, yeah.
This is the thing.
this a
You just
triangle
make up
to
your
you?
own definitions.
Can you see that?
Let's see what he's showing.
I see those three humps between 3 points, baby, yep.
Right, so would you call that a triangle?
Yes.
Okay, right, now how would you measure that angle?
I'd measure it with normal geometry, Euclid.
Like this?
Normal. Well, it's good to see that Euclid falls under the definition of normal.
Like that?
Let me see, get a bit closer, babe. I want to see how far off it is.
Like that. So where do we measure the angle? Right,
You can say it's nearly 90, right?
No,
Nearly.
It is
That
90.
sounds pretty
What is
precise.
it? What does it measure?
It is 90. Look, it's this is where you measure the angle. It's 90
Oh, yeah,
degrees.
exactly. Now you're showing the other axis.
Yeah.
You do know about this
But this
stuff.
isn't this bit here. This isn't spherical. Spherical geometry
You know all
is
about
just
this
the
stuff,
surface.
Joel.
Yeah, of course I do. This angle here is where you measure the angle in the inside. Like that is. It's just a quarter. Well, it's an eighth, isn't it?
It's 90 when you look down on
just
it,
slice
perfectly, isn't it?
Slice the ball like that, poof, straight down the middle, and then cut a quarter out of it like a cake. That's it. This curve's just what you have around the outside of it. I mean, you can't measure the angle there.
I would say it's about 91 degrees.
It's 90 degrees.
92?
I know what I'm doing. It's all 90. I wouldn't lie to you. It's 90 degrees, but it's 90
exactly
degrees
90,
because
right.
these bits are here are 90 degrees. Not because this bit that we tape up afterwards is 90 degrees. That's got nothing to do with it.
Yeah, you've got
That's
the
just the
perfect
shape that's
eighth,
left at the
eighth
end of it
section.
after you've
You've got a
cut that
perfect
square
eighth
piece
section of a
out.
sphere and it's perfectly 90.
You just got that piece that's been cut out of it. If it had been a cube, that would be exactly the same, and you'd have a
It's
square
a
on the end of it.
teaching tool.
Yeah, it's an eighth of a sphere.
So you could show your boy, we're going to draw a triangle, and look, and then measure it and say, look, oh my god, it's
No.
180.
Look, you need
It's
to go
not a
inside
triangle on the
it
sphere.
to look at the straight sides.
270 degrees. Oh my god.
540. Go on, imagine that one.
Yeah, what's that look like?
What? Do you want?
That looks like that stupid picture of yours.
Do you want to know what it
That would
actually
look-
looks like? Look, I've got the sphere here.
Just wondering.
Yeah. Well, it's this. You've got to go. Your start point is here, right? So you go from here all the way down to this centre point here, and then you go all the way around. Oh, so that's one side down there. Then you go all the way around,
Like a piece of melon.
all the way back to here, and then you go back up to here. Boom.
A watermelon slice.
It's like a whole hot top half. It's like woof gone.
Oh, a whole hemisphere triangle.
Yeah, from here down there, all the way round, back up to there. Poof. whole top half of the thing. Like it
No,
looks like a
that's
triangle.
circle.
You can imagine it, can't you?
That'd be a circle, almost.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a triangle, would it? But hey,
I
that's
bet
what you have
Dawn
to
could
deal with.
imagine that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if you
Dawn
can
could
imagine it, you'll be
imagine
fine.
Yeah. It's not a triangle, but you can imagine it as.
Yeah.
You can assume that it is if you want.
It depends how far off it is for me to stop calling it a triangle.
As soon as you end up with one curved line for me, or an increase in one in the angles, I think that's a bit of a problem. Have you were you there when did you hear Gem? Because I mean, PhD Tony, Fight the Flat Earth, Team Septic, Gem Panda, quite a few other people have had triangles with more than 180 degrees. Now, not triangles on a sphere. These people are the ones that think you can go to the top of a mountain, look at another mountain and measure an angle and do that 3 times in actual reality and form a planar triangle with more than 180 degrees. They're absolutely convinced of it. You believe them? Okay.
Really? You believe that, Don?
I don't believe they've necessarily measured it perfectly, but I believe they've theoretically stood in 3 points that form a triangle bigger than 180 degrees.
Okay. Have you ever tried to actually draw a triangle with more than 180 degrees? Actually, like, with straight lines, like a triangle. As you would if you were drawing, if you were citing that A to B. Well, because you are at point A and you are measuring an angle between B and C. That is that is what an angle is. And when you have 3 of those angles, you have a shape called a triangle.
Just show the bigger version of it on the ball.
No, these are straight lines. You are sighting them with a scope, with your eyes. You are actually measuring an angle from a point to a point. Now, you know what happens when you can, in mathematics, when you have a point to a point.
Yeah, and they all end up more.
You have a straight line, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you have an angle formed by 2 straight lines, the division in between and the inclination.
Ignore the other axis again.
What other axis?
No, the other axis
This is
in the 3D world.
this is where I know, Dawn, you have definitely not studied geometry.
You can go on 3 mountains, do straight lines, and get angles more than 180 degrees when you add them up.
Okay, draw it on a piece of paper.
If you're on the surface of a sphere.
Draw 3 straight lines on a piece of paper that add up to more than 180
It's not straight though,
degrees.
it's the surface of a sphere.
You are off. You are on a mountain and you are sighting a point to a point.
Only a dumb child would get this mixed up in their brain.
Possibly, yes, Dawn. But once they've been told that it is an impossibility for a triangle to have more or less than 180 degrees, they shouldn't make that mistake ever again. They definitely, as an adult, shouldn't be claiming that it is possible to draw a triangle with more than
On the
180
surface of a
degrees.
sphere, that's why it's possible.
Did you miss the part where he said 3 straight lines?
No. Didn't miss it.
Do you remember agreeing with me if you drew with a Sharpie marker on a basketball a line, it wasn't straight?
But that's not what we're doing here.
Sighting them
We're
doesn't
sighting.
mean-
And we're not doing
Straight,
anyhow, I
doesn't
know.
It's only straight on one axis.
You just go back around in circles anyhow.
Sighting of the point to point is straight.
Right, it's on one axis.
Straight on one axis.
So,
Point to
yeah,
point.
it's straight on every axis. So draw it on a piece of paper. A triangle that has more than 190.
Straight on those 3 point to point axes. Not straight though, is it? When you look at it.
Yeah, it is. It's a straight line of
It's on a
sight.
sphere.
It doesn't matter what the ground underneath you is doing. It's the straight line of sight from mountaintop to mountaintop to mountaintop.
Yeah, this is only confusing for a dumb child.
Well, why are you so confused then?
Yeah.
You're
Don't be
not
so
a-
hard on yourself, Don.
You're not a dumb child. You're an adult. Do you think a straight line of sight cares
It's
about
straight
what's
on one
going
axis.
Hold on. If you have a straight line of sight across a 500-foot hole, does that straight line of sight, is it affected? Don?
Straight on one axis. Next.
Don, you
Don,
know,
is that
when you look through a scope, surely you've actually looked through a scope, haven't you?
Right and straight, point to point.
Right, so there is a horizontal crosshair and a vertical crosshair. They're perpendiculars, two lines, right? Now, when you look through that scope and you are looking on that vertical axis, right, you are looking, and if you are on that vertical axis, that is your 0 point. You would then turn to look
straight.
at an
Straight line,
other
point.
point, and you measure the angle between that point and the other
Point
point.
to point, it's a straight line.
Right, so the point that you are at would be called the vertex, right? Did you see that thing I put in there earlier? The vertex, that's where you are at, and then you are turning from one arm to the other arm of an angle, and the angle is the division between them, the little bit in between those two straight lines. That's what you do when you're surveying, and you go from that thing. So you're literally just measuring the angle between that one line where it starts.
If
And
you're on a sphere and you do this, you'll find out it adds up to more than 180.
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
That's how a sphere works. mate.
That's how
All
somebody
spheres.
without
spheres.
any logical sense would think.
All spheres work.
But you
like
are
this.
not on
Straight lines,
the surface
more than
of
180
the
degrees.
sphere. You are elevated.
No, you're
Dawn.
just pre-assuming an Earth shape.
And, like, people, I'm sure people have the problem with this, with, like when you have a surface of water surface finds its own surface. It doesn't matter what's underneath it at all. Well, that's the same with straight lines and triangles. When you are sighting points from point to point, it doesn't give a shit what's underneath it. If you are making 3 points together, right, you are making...
You're confusing yourself.
Pardon?
You're confusing yourself. I hope you don't teach your son this.
You think water cares about what's underneath it?
Well,
Don?
like a triangle is
What about
3
that? The
points.
first
Do you know how to
bullet.
describe a plane? 3 non-collinear points. That's non-collinear points will make a plane, a triangular plane. But that will form the plane that it's on, and a plane extends, it's just a 2-dimensional plane. But 3 points, 3 non-collinear points, so i.e. the mountain tops can be at whatever height they want to be, right? Those 3 points where you sight the angles between them, those points will make a plane. Mathematically, I mean, like... But, of course, you can use your non-Euclidean mathematics if you would like to.
For example, this is a thought experiment. Get 3 boats with a big tall mast, 100-meter mast.
Mm-hmm.
Sail out, let's say, a mile or whatever, so that you can still see each other when you
Yep.
stand at the top of the mast.
Yep.
Yeah? Point to point, measure each other. It's a straight line to
Yep.
that guy,
Yep.
straight line to that guy on your left.
Yep.
Everyone says, yep, straight line to you on my right, straight line to you on my left.
Yeah, I'll measure an
the
angle.
line. I've got the lines. I'm drawing them on my boat now, and the boat's not moving because it's a nice calm sea. So they're drawing the lines down, and then we're going to measure them.
It was just...
They all say,
everybody-
shit,
What?
I've got 74, and I've got this, I've got that, and it adds up to more than 180. And you say, oh no, that's 190.
And then what?
And then you say, oh no, maybe the ocean surface is curved.
Nah, you go, which one of you fuckers
All
is
that
useless at
non-Euclidean stuff
measuring?
that's been going on
Exactly.
in the crypt behind
Let me check I'm right. Let me check again. Fucking hell. Let's get this right. This is impossible. We cannot have a triangle with more than 180 degrees. That's what I'd say if I was in the boat.
But we've got 66 degrees each, Bev.
Have you?
Why 66?
Honestly, I've drawn it perfectly. I've just recited it to you and recited it to Bob over there. And I've got 66.
You've just made an equilateral triangle with
I've got 66. What have you got?
What have I got?
66. Bob, what have you got? 66 as well. Oh no. 192 degrees.
Then which one of you fuckers fucked up?
Yeah. Come on, Dawn.
If you can, you need to.
You've obviously never done any sort of basic geometry, have you? I mean, you might have drawn some shapes when you were at school, right? I'll give you that. But you've never actually looked into any of this, have you?
So if I was in my coven and we did magic sigils,
have you ever actually done a 3, 4, 5 triangle practically?
Triangle for magic, yeah. I would not accept curved triangles. A triangle is definitely 3 straight lines. This is normal for you.
Oh, right. So magic rules are a bit more stringent than your mathematical rules.
The original symbology of the triangle. We need to keep it Euclidean.
You need to keep your magic Euclidean. Why is that?
Could you turn into a pumpkin if you don't?
2D.
What
3D
happens?
spoils them.
You turn into a pumpkin otherwise? Come on, Don. You gotta do better than this.
So what I'm saying is I am into Euclidean triangles as well, guys. Don't count me off.
Yeah, you do know Euclid had 3D. He did a book of solids, book 11. Dawn, don't you? You know, it's not just two-dimensional.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, fine.
It's not curved 3D surfaces.
Yeah, it is. A sphere is a curved 3D surface, right? Surely.
Of course, it includes a sphere.
Cones and cylinders. Yeah, it's all of them.
Another type of geometry.
Dodecahedrons. All of the shapes.
What do you guys think about the hexagon on Saturn? Can they make that up? Do you reckon it is there?
Where?
On Saturn.
The god? The Greek god?
The light, the twinkling light in the sky.
What about it?
Apparently they went close, and the North Pole is a hexagon-shaped storm. Believe that?
No.
Nice story.
Yeah.
Twinkling light have a hexagon storm on a pole of it.
Yeah. Did they send a probe?
Lord of the Rings, they call it. You know, when you get married in front of the Lord and you wear a ring, that's based on.
Do you believe this stuff, Don?
That's a true occult fact, that is.
That's a what, an occult fact?
Lord of the Rings, yeah, this is one of the ideas of Saturn. Keeps us in line.
Do you practice magic, Don?
Try to, yeah. A little bit.
You definitely don't draw curved triangles in your magic stuff.
Yeah, I did make triangle shape out of 3 candles.
Are the lines curved on the triangle?
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm into Euclidean triangles most of the time. It's just I accept non-Euclidean triangles sometimes. Let's boil it down to that.
You can't even say that with a straight face.
Because it's joke semantics. You're trying to deny a whole massive section of modern mathematics.
Sure, it's not just
modern geometries.
Sure, it's not just Duper's delight. Do you know what that is, Don?
I don't. Tell
like
me.
this stuff. Like, if Nick was in here or a Globo was arguing it, I would be saying to them they're mental. I'd be on your side. No one else is arguing it.
Why are you doing it then? Well, Dawn, why do you do it?
I don't know. I'm finding it fun because I didn't do it for a while.
How do you think you're coming out of it, right?
It's partly honest as well because I believe in it. I believe it's a type of mathematics.
You realise what you are doing, though, right? At the basic fundamentals of what you're doing here is you are bending straight lines. You are trying to justify to yourself sort of a way that you can bend straight lines mentally. You're preparing your mind for it.
I'm allowing straight lines to only stay straight on one axis, and I'm allowing myself to bend them on the other two axes.
Yeah, it's obvious. Whereas we normal people, I consider normal people that live in reality, can't. Like when I see a straight line, if there's any curvature to it in any axis at all, it then becomes a curved line.
Yeah, I don't call it straight lines anymore. Just sometimes, if I'm talking about this stuff deeply, I would say that's still straight on one axis. Like when I saw your ball, those 390s, it's quite cool, isn't it? Because the point-to-point example as well from the mountains, that's still straight on the one axis where you're looking at each other.
No, that's on the surface of the ball. If you lift up and you can sight something from it, then you are they are non-collinear points. But you, from sighting them, can make a plane. With them 3 points, you make a plane. The triangle then becomes a real-life, straight-line, planar triangle. By the very fact that you can sight the points. I mean, it's not a trick or anything. It's just like a realistic geometrical principle that we base everything on. Whenever we're measuring anything.
No.
Yeah.
You're trying to deny sphere surfaces exist again.
No. I know sphere surfaces exist. Like a lump of a hill is a measurable change in elevation. It's obvious. It's there. You can see it. You can see the lumps and bumps. You can measure them.
I'm going to teach my kids, that if we sight each other on the surface and it is a sphere, we'll end up with curved lines on a triangle on the surface. Even though we managed to sight each other straight, it's only straight on that axis.
Are you doing that just to spite me, or just because you think you
I
can't
like
agree
to
with
debunk
us?
your silly points, but it's not out of spite.
He's just trolling.
I like to debunk your silly arguments.
It's not a silly argument. It's a geometrical, provable fact that a triangle cannot have more than 180 degrees.
And you definitely haven't come close to debunking anything.
I mean, I think you're like being a bit silly to even try, Dawn. I mean, I'm not, I'm not defending anything. I don't have to defend it. This is Euclidean geometry. Right?
You think that sets a base and it always exists everywhere?
Yeah, absolutely. Pythagorean theorem, trigonometry proves it. Dawn, your maths that you rely on relies on these principles as its very foundation.
You can't imagine an infinite universe with Euclid geometry. So it's useless for that.
Yeah, it doesn't deal with imagination. There isn't a chapter, an imagination chapter in it. It's just provable facts.
If you want to theorize,
that's all it deals with.
If you want to theorize about the black void of space going on forever, you need non-Euclidean geometry.
Yeah, you can just imagine whatever you want.
To learn about how the planets fall around each other and why, sometimes you need non-Euclidean geometry for that as well.
That's all theory, though, Don. That's crazy,
yeah,
dude.
It's all theory, but people like to theorize, don't they? That's what intelligent men do. They theorize about stuff.
Is it?
Yes, they've done it for thousands and thousands and thousands of years.
Philosophy, right? Philosophizers. I'm good at that. Thinking. It's my favourite thing. Thinking.
Science, mythology, religion.
Yeah. It's where you let your mind go, right? Do you stick with? Yeah. Do you stick with? Well, theorize or fantasy? Which one is it?
Theorize.
Yeah, theorize where you end up with a proof.
Too, but
when you end up with an actual proof, or
you think
the
What do you
new
think?
definition of
Maybe it's like
theorize.
this. Maybe it works like this.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's
it works
that.
like that.
Yeah, that's not theorizing.
Yeah, it is.
That's just fantasy. That.
It's
Yeah, it is fantasies.
called theorizing.
What do you end up with at the end of your theorizes?
A theory.
Whole. Well, just a theory.
Yeah, like a fantasy book, like a big story
Almost
of
like
like, here's what I imagine. Here's what I imagine. Here's another thing I imagine.
Space and time.
I can imagine. Did you know, right, that time, it being the fourth dimension, is perpendicular to the three dimensions of length, width, and thickness? Can you theorize about that? Einstein did, didn't he?
I didn't quite hear you properly, but it didn't sound like a serious question.
Can you theorize anything about
I will kill you with my death ray.
the fourth dimension, time, so called? You know that you need it for your straight curvy lines, right? Well, that time being the fourth dimension is perpendicular to the other three.
No.
It is.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. That's one way to think of it, I guess.
Yeah. Theorize about it.
How do you think of it?
Yeah, so we're in this 3D space, up, down, left, right, forwards, backwards.
Yeah. Reality sort of thing. Everyone
And
can
then
imagine that.
all of that
Yeah.
is moving down this line towards
Down a line.
the end.
Which way's the line go down, the x-axis or the y-axis?
Perpendicular. Perpendicular to all three.
Yes, but on the fourth dimension, in 4 dimensions, so you can only say, you can't really
It is
think
the
of-
fourth dimension, right? It's the one that they tag on after the
That's
three
what
that we
breaks
know
the definition
about.
of perpendicular.
Did you ever think, Don, that this is just all BS to keep you confused, keep you chasing something that you can never see or prove?
What do you mean by all?
Huh?
All what?
All what? I don't know where I said all.
You said
What did
all
I say?
this.
Well, all this theorizing about a fourth dimension.
I wasn't doing that. Bev was doing it.
You're making all of this up, Don, aren't you?
What?
Well, and like all of this stuff with your bendy straight lines. Where does this happen?
It's straight lines.
Yeah.
It's still straight on one axis. We went over this.
Right, so straight lines.
We just call them lines.
Yeah, we do call them straight lines, but they have no curvature to them. That's the thing.
Line.
That's
Just
what.
lines.
A line or a straight line, the same thing. You have like a line within mathematics,
A line can
Dawn.
be curved.
Yeah, but then you call it a curved line. A
sure.
line is a straight line in mathematics.
I think you're being very specific and probably
Yeah,
not.
because it's mathematics, Dawn. You don't be wishy-washy and maybes and meh. I don't know really. Could be straight or
I'm happy
maybe
to curved line.
a little bit curved. Perhaps, I don't know
Any
really.
straight line. I don't know why you call it that. It's just a curved line, right?
Yeah. Right.
So don't give me that bendy straight stuff.
But
Just call it
you
curved.
do want to have the possibility for a straight line to have a curvature element to it, don't you? And still be
No.
called a straight line.
No.
No. Okay.
It's straight on one axis.
Can a line be both
Curved on the other
bent?
two or just one? It could
Can
be
a line
straight on
be-
two axes, can it?
Can a line be both
That's
bent
just a
and
line, yeah. Straight on
Can
one
a-
axis, curved on one axis.
can a line be both straight and curved at the same time, Don?
A line.
Yeah.
I
Can it be
think-
both
yeah,
bent
try
and
that
straight
angle,
at the same
yeah.
time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, that's the problem. I'll never think that a
Different
line can be.
axes, though. You know what I mean when I say yeah. I mean on different axes.
No, we don't know what you mean,
Like I
Dawn.
just said, this axis is straight, this axis is curved. So this line is straight there, curved there.
Dawn.
Then it's not straight.
Yeah, you are absolutely crazy.
It's not straight, full stop. It's straight on one axis.
It's not straight, full stop.
Right, straight on one axis.
Do you want me to get on the board here, right, and show you?
Hold on. If I buy a length of wood then, and I
Oh boy.
look down one line and one edge of it, and it's straight, and I look down 90 degrees and it's bent, is that bit of wood straight or bent?
It's bent.
Thank you.
But it's
So
straight on one axis.
Right, yeah, watch this. You'll like this, Dawn, because yeah.
As you confirmed
Practical.
by your first observation.
Can you see this? Can you see the board? What's this? What's that?
That's a curved line.
No, it's a straight line.
You just agreed.
On the board, you muppet. This
it's straight on that
axis
axis, yeah.
is straight.
Straight on that
It's a
axis.
straight line. Of course it is. Must be. It's on the
You can't
board.
see the line on that
Anything I
axis.
do on this thing here.
On a board designed for this
look at all
axis
of
only,
these straight
so
lines.
It would be weird to say
No,
it's
he's not
straight.
happy about it.
I wouldn't ever call that straight. But
Oh. Oh.
But it is.
It
If
is.
It's
It's
on
a
the board.
Yeah, it's
gotta
on the
be
board.
straight.
The board's
I'm
on
not
that.
even looking at the shape, but I
Yeah.
can know it's straight
Must
because I
be.
know he's writing on the
It's
board.
on that axis.
no.
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
not
it's a
gonna do
straight axis. It's got to be straight.
Whiteboards are only designed for one axis, mate.
In fact, these two axes, X and Y, right? It's not straight this way, so it is straight on the X and the Y axis. So that's two axes that this is straight on.
The line doesn't really exist
And-
in the other axis that I'm
X and
arguing
Y,
for.
yeah. You've got there. Look,
Doesn't really exist
these are
in
your
that
two
axis,
axes
really.
on this board.
On this
Yeah.
example.
The other axis this way, oof, and that way, that it can be curved in that, but
Are you going to put a third axis
two to
on?
one. These are all straight lines.
Are
Every
you
one
going
of
to
them.
put the third axis
There's no
on?
such. In fact, if we work on that, there's no such thing as a curved line.
Can we put the third axis
We may as
on?
well do away with curved
No,
lines. They're completely done. I'm loving it.
Let's put the third
Fight the
axis
flat
through
Earth
the
geometry. There are no curved lines.
wall. Bev, can we draw
That's
the third
awesome.
axis on there?
Pardon?
On this diagram.
Pardon?
Can we draw the third axis on this diagram towards the camera and through the wall away from
No,
the
you
camera?
you have to imagine that. Is
Yeah,
that
can you
is that
try
where
draw
you
it?
imagine your curvature?
I just mean draw a representation of it so we can imagine.
So you can imagine. Okay. You want me to draw you a picture so you can imagine. Can you not imagine without me drawing a picture of it?
So if you guys can imagine a line from the camera going to that axis point that you just touched through the board, that would be the axis where that wobbly line is straight on. But because it doesn't exist on that axis, it's just a red line on this axis, I wouldn't call it a straight line.
Wouldn't call which a straight line?
This isn't on the surface of a curve.
Which one wouldn't you call a straight line?
I don't need to invoke straight on one axis because
Yeah,
this isn't on the
straight
surface
on two
of a
axes.
sphere or a
X and
curve.
Y in the vertical plane.
This is only two axes.
It's straight in. This board is straight. Well, actually, there's a little bit of a bend in it there.
Is it axes or axi?
Axes.
Axes. Oh, okay. Axes. Right. I knew that.
Axis is this.
Bev, put your head against that wall and then get a bit of string and stick the string to that curve line on the
It's
board.
straight. It's straight. That is
Look.
straight.
But look at it as it goes up.
See, that's straight there.
You did it, Bev. There you go.
Straight, and this
That
is
was
straight.
a good representation.
Straight this way, like a horizontal line that way, and a vertical line this way. Like this. See that?
Do you remember when I talked about my mate that was hypnotised, Bev?
Yeah.
he says exactly the same as what
Dawn.
Dawn.
Yeah.
Have you got a third laser, Bev? You can stick
Oh, look.
next to the camera lens.
Oh, look. Can you see that? See the way the line lies on the ball? That must be a straight line, right? On the surface of the ball. Does it look like? I bet it even looks like a straight line, doesn't it? Do you reckon, Don?
Why is the vertical line not showing?
I don't know.
Oh, there it's off to the left.
Oh, yeah.
That's weird. Oh, that's weird.
Oh, because, yeah, it is. It's over here, isn't it?
Yeah.
Does that look like a
Okay.
straight line or not? If I put that over here. How's that look? Is that straight? Oh, I bet it doesn't look straight, does it?
To Dawn it does.
Dawn? Does that look straight? I mean, it's straight here.
It's straight from the laser's point of view,
Straight
isn't
there. And then, yeah, what about
It's
that
straight
then?
from the
Does that
laser's
look
point of view.
straight?
Isn't it, though?
Does it look straight there?
It's straight from the laser's point of view.
Is it straight?
Ah, is it straight though?
It's straight from that axis, yeah.
It's straight which axis?
The laser's axis.
Oh, the laser. You're going to look at it like you're the laser. I'll be the laser.
That's the whole point.
Well, no, it's
Don,
not.
I can
The point
see
is
your
about the straight
smile,
line.
dude. I can see your smile, Don.
Because I'm winning. That's why I'm smiling.
So,
Yeah.
Dawn, are you saying if we look at a banana from a certain angle, it's straight?
Oh, look at that.
It's
Look
all
at that straight
perspective.
line there. Look at it. Ah, look at the little straight line.
Is that straight, Don?
Oh.
It's because this quiz and these trick questions are too easy for me.
On the surface of that ball, is that straight?
Can we
On the
measure an
surface
angle?
of
90
that ball.
degrees, that.
Those straight lasers.
That's
making
90
it
degrees,
go
isn't it? All right angles are equal. Non-Euclidean space. Get in there. Look at it.
See, that's what a 90-degree angle looks like.
Yeah, from up here. Look at that. Well, wait, maybe there. No.
Yeah, that's 90.
It's an angle to a curve. This
That's
is how
90 right
is
there.
it there? Oh, there. Oh, look
that-
at. Oh, man. Oh.
Where's the 90, Don? Where's the 90 on there?
I
when he
mean,
moves
it's the
it around?
same. It's the same. It's 90 degrees, but I mean, hey, let's play non-Euclidean angles. Whoa, hey. Hey, I'm glad you came, Don. I've never done this before.
This is awesome.
Yeah, this is great. Look at that.
What are you demonstrating? I don't get it.
Really? You don't get that? That's a 90-degree angle.
Angle
right
to
there.
a curve on a
There.
sphere. It's this line here. These are 90 degrees, and they just add the element of a sphere, because I mean that's what it is. And then, hey presto, non-Euclidean angles. Just measure it. Where do you want to measure it at? Well, at the point of intersection.
Bingo, bango.
Which point of intersection? Oh dear. That's terrible, Don. Thanks for coming, though. Oh, really, Don? Thanks for coming. Look at that. I need to find a better ball now, don't
My
I?
argument all along was the
that's awesome.
surface exists and it affects shapes.
Yeah, and all of these angles
Right.
here, they're always the same.
And I
aren't they?
win, 'cause that's true.
The intersection of 2 points on a sphere can be measured at any point.
1 point for us. 1 point. We're winning.
One, you must have been sleeping. You're probably at 100 point.
Yeah, I'm really good with that. I mean, that is the expression of a non-Euclidean space and geometry actually in Euclidean space on a Euclidean spherical object.
That's wicked.
That's fucking amazing.
You're crazy.
All those angles are 90 degrees, Don.
Yeah, all of them.
Every single one, yeah.
Yeah.
That's 90, that's 90, that's 90.
It's just
Hang
depends where
on.
they're intersecting.
Hang on.
That's
Did
90.
Dawn just call you crazy?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Actual
Dawn.
practical live. Oh, we're not actually live. Oh, that's a pity. You could have been involved in something big there, Dawn. We were doing live geometry. Have you ever seen that as a practical demonstration of non-Euclidean geometry on a surface of a sphere and angles? And what happens and how freaky it is? Did you know that? Did you know it was that freaky, the geometry you were talking about?
Whoa.
Does the alligator have your tongue? Guess he's done. He's getting instruction. He's probably going to get told to leave at this point.
I'm really stoned. I got a headache.
Told you.
Geometry really does do your head in, right? Because you actually have to think and process, formulate ideas, principles, come to an understanding. It's a good subject. You should look into it, really.
Well, I have been looking into it.
Euclidean, right? Like start at the beginning, the real basics. Don't skip anything. Don't think you're beyond it.
I skipped straight to non-Euclidean to see if it was a thing, and it is a thing.
I would have thought so. Yeah. Yeah, I won't even bother what that is. I'll just go for the not that.
That's all I needed to know to debunk you guys.
Do you want chicken or beef or not chicken and beef? Oh,
chicken and beef, please.
That not stuff sounds tempting. I shall pass on the chicken and beef and go for the
menu, right?
Not.
Anything that's not meat.
No, that's not what it is it?
What about pork? What about dog or cat?
Read the description. You never know, you might end up with somebody that's awkward, that just wants to be a contrarian for no apparent reason. I'm looking for that clip of the guy, the professor that said time is perpendicular. I think he was talking about Euclid and how Euclid's 3 dimensions worked perfectly fine until Einstein came along and told everybody that time was perpendicular to it.
It's an okay way to think of it, but it doesn't fit the definition of perpendicular, does
It's
it?
a professor. This guy's like not. He's a university lecturer. I mean, you don't presume that you think you know better about it than he does.
But if you're teaching clever guys at university, that's a good way to teach them. You say, so you've got these 3 dimensions, they're perpendicular to each other.
Yeah.
Then you've got time, which is perpendicular to all of them. People say, what?
Yeah.
What do you mean perpendicular? I'm saying, well, you have to think in 4D, right? Like, it's just a way to...
No,
way to
because
say
Euclidean
time
geometry
dimension
defines
of the big
perpendicular as being 90 degrees. That's why you can have X, Y, and Z axis. They are all already perpendicular to each other.
Trick wording to make it sound interesting.
Well, you fell for the trick.
Yeah, trick wording.
And there were the mathematicians, Euclid of Alexandria.
Yeah.
His concept of space in fact, of three-dimensional space has survived 2200 years until a former patent clerk of the name Albert Einstein discovered that in fact space is not three-dimensional. There is a fourth dimension, time, multiplied with a constant, the speed of light, which is perpendicular to the three dimensions. He later on...
He sounds
and there were
serious,
the
doesn't he?
mathematicians.
Yeah, see, he sounds like really clever, right? I bet he'd
No,
go
he-
down well over at Gems, wouldn't he?
Sounds serious about that specific thing he said.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think he's serious.
Yeah, he wouldn't, surely he wouldn't stand in front of a big lecture hall, would he? And, lie to all of his students. I mean, he definitely believes that.
My first reaction now is that he has got persuaded by the trick language, and now he's preaching it as if it's true, like without any irony.
I'd say he'd do it without any understanding of what the geometry and the actual understanding of what perpendicular means, because if he did, he wouldn't say that.
Of course, he's looked at the original definition. He's decided to break it.
Listen, he didn't say he didn't look. He said he didn't understand it. There's a difference. Just like you don't understand it, but you looked.
You've still got the possibility of straight bendy lines, haven't you? Bending in one of the axes.
Have a line that's bent on one axis and straight on the other one. You agree, right?
It wouldn't be a straight line.
No, it wouldn't.
Yeah. On that we can agree that for a straight line to be a straight line, it needs to be straight in every axis. It cannot curve in any.
Well, he'll say yes right now, but he'll flip later.
You might refer to it as a straight line if you were on the surface of a curve.
See? You might refer to it.
That was a nice flip-flop.
Yeah, he's been doing it all day. I've been
Yeah,
listening.
it's getting a bit boring, Dawn.
I don't stick to your definition that it has to be straight on every axis.
But like
It's
we
straight on
we
one axis.
understand that you're going to argue and
Straight on
not
one
agree with anything that we say, because even if it's like obviously basic facts and provable, right? You won't agree to it anyway. We're getting the understanding of that, Dawn. It's getting a bit old.
It's a line that appears straight on one axis, right? That's what I'm going to stick with. There's too much nuance in the semantics.
Your definitions are
In the middle.
too defined.
Fencing.
Bev. The definitions are too strict. We have to break them.
On the example of being on the mountaintops, when you look at each other, it's straight on that axis. Yeah, but you don't say this is a straight line. I think you
It's
do.
straight.
Yeah,
Your
you
example, it's straight in every sense on that.
It's not totally straight though. If the
Yeah, it
surface,
is totally straight. It doesn't matter. The line of sight does not care what the surface is doing underneath it.
I'm thinking too much.
Uh,
I don't think you're thinking at all.
Yeah. It takes time for this stuff to process, Dawn. You don't get it straight away, it's okay. You'd probably be better just giving it a little bit of a break for a bit.
When you
to be
sight
honest.
line on three mountains, it is straight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally straight lines.
Yeah, and you can only have 180 degrees in a triangle with.
No, I think it
straight
might measure
sides.
more. Still.
Oh,
Okay, draw it on a piece of paper then.
dude.
Come out.
Do you not think it's provable that a triangle with three straight sides has 180 degrees? Because that is the fundamental basics about nearly all of the geometry within Euclidean geometry is the right angle. It didn't even have 90 degrees. It's called the right angle. And it's a very specific thing. Because it's right. And you need straight lines. And like all of these things, like on the level means being honest. Being straight with someone means being honest. Right. Being right and true like angles and is that true? It's all the same thing, right? True, honesty, like literally the truth. It's what geometry is. You can't deny it. It's not there because somebody decided to make something up because they wanted to make some pretty patterns. It is when you come down to fundamental logic and you interpret it down to the basic truths that cannot be denied. There's nothing like it provable facts every time. There's no argument in this stuff. It is provable. Then that's what you get left with is geometry. Euclidean geometry, to be precise. Can't get around it. Although some people have got a great imagination. And I think, Dawn, you might be one of them. Don't worry, there's plenty of other people to join you.
You'll be in good company. Well, I don't know if the company will be good, but there'll be lots. Didn't he leave? He did.
He's gone.
I think so.
Oh.
Yeah, he's gone, I think. I don't see him.
Oh, that's okay.